Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Yes. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. We will be halfway through the week by the time we are done with this show. And I'll tell you what, yesterday, I've said it before and I'll say it again, not a big fan of Tuesdays. You don't have the weekend vibes left over from Monday, and everybody complains about Monday, so that's part of it. You're not halfway through the week unless you're having tacos. For Taco Tuesday, which I don't know if I'm allowed to say because LeBron tried to trademark that, Tuesdays are tough. But we had Keith Smith on the show. You can check that out on YouTube and on the Sacktown Sports app. That was great. We also discussed how the Kings can build stuff. And I've realized that it's hard for people to understand certain things, right? And, I'm very open on this show about the evolution of radio, and we have to be on YouTube. So yesterday, the YouTube not working, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. We have to do things on other platforms now. This is not the 80s. This is not the 90s. Hell, it's not the 2000s. So we have to evolve in certain ways. So I post stuff onto social media, and they don't necessarily have all the context, right? Because they're not listening to our 4-hour show. And it is really hard for people to understand things. That's what I've realized. I can sit there and say, I think that as long as Domantas Sabonis is on the Kings, they should follow the Nuggets model, right? And Jordi Fernandez from being over there, that's kind of how this whole thing started. Never once did I say that Jokic and Sabonis are even comparable as far as Sabonis being as good as Jokic. Never once did I say that roster, the Nuggets roster, is comparable to the Kings. But if you look at how it was built, that's exactly what I saw. Not that they were as good. Every single comment. Are you comparing Sabonis and Jokic? Are you saying that Keegan, this is ridiculous? And I've learned this. It's really hard for people to pay attention. And I know we joke about the microwave society. It's really difficult. Anything more, and the clip was only, I think it was under a minute. But anything over 2 to 3 minutes, people just, it starts going haywire, right? You can't even, I don't even know if people use their microwave for more than 2 to 3 minutes nowadays because they just start going haywire. So I really appreciate everybody who tunes in for let alone 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, let alone 4 hours. So we appreciate that with you. And it doesn't really make me upset. I just sit there and say, okay, clearly you guys just aren't able to comprehend or just don't want to, because that would require a little bit of reading. But we are going to continue to break down the Kings model and how they can look to get back on the right side of things. We're going to talk about the NBA playoffs, of course. Ant versus SGA. Is the NBA, or should I say Major League Baseball, in trouble? There are some numbers, and you can just say it's Caitlin Clark, that's fine. But there are some numbers from this weekend. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever beat the New York Mets, taking on the New York Yankees. And I'm a baseball guy. We all know that. But Cam Newton, a couple months ago, said, I wouldn't be surprised if the WNBA starts to beat Major League Baseball in popularity, in ratings, in a couple years, whatever the case may be. Cam Newton got destroyed by Barstool, by John Boy, by all of these baseball gatekeepers. And I sat there and said, I don't know that Cam Newton is right, but it's definitely not the most egregious thing I've heard in the world. So I want to have a conversation about that. We always joke about Brock Purdy and, me saying, he likes to be on a cornfield and he went to school in Iowa and he's from Arizona. He's so humble. Everybody thinks he's not going to ask for his money. Adam Schefter, the number that Adam Schefter is reporting Brock Purdy initially asked for, just reminds you, people, know your worth. Know your worth. Because this brother asked for what? We will give you that number when we get into the Brock Purdy situation later in the show. Could the Celtics actually blow it up? I think that is something that is a real conversation. And it's a real conversation because I don't know that people realize, and it sounds crazy saying this, how bad the Achilles injury is, right? I was Googling. I was trying to Google Achilles situations, and it's actually pretty interesting how rare that injury happens. Now, it happens to more players than we talk about, but as far as stars, if you look at the stars in the NBA, it hasn't happened to many of them. So when you do have that conversation, who do you talk about? Of course, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Kobe Bryant. Boogie gets brought up. Boogie was dealing with other things. Obviously, Klay had 2 in a row. But they're not really good examples out there to believe that Jason Tatum did it at 27. There are not a lot of good options out there to make you feel like Jason Tatum is going to return to who he was. And Kevin Durant is really the only one off the top of my head. He's really the only one that we can say, okay, Kevin Durant's pretty much the same guy he dealt with. And with that being said, Kevin Durant missed a ton of time in addition to the Achilles injury or post-Achilles injury. Is it connected? Who knows? So your buddy, I'm not even going to talk about myself here because my buddy who listens to the show out there in Napa, shout out my guy Mike, go check out Baldacci Vineyards, because my buddy always gets mad at me whenever I talk about my Achilles injury. So I'm not even going to talk about me. But when you have a buddy, and we all do, that came back, I had a guy, a friend of mine, text me when I said, I haven't really played again yet. And he said, man, I've been back. And he tore it months after me. He said, man, I've been back playing for 3 months now. Well, no disrespect to you, brother, but you are not Jason Tatum. Your level of what you were doing pre-injury is not that different to post-injury. No disrespect whatsoever. So your buddy that has beat the Achilles injury in 9 months, who didn't play after high school, it is not the same as Jason Tatum trying to return to who he once was. And I pray that he does, but we have absolutely no clue if that's going to be the case. So you're going to have Derek White. There are a bunch of rumors on Derek White. Okay? You paid Jaylen Brown, what, $300 million, something absurd like that? We're going to find out, what, in a year if he's worth that. If he is, do the Celtics, obviously they'd still have Jason Tatum, so they see what happens there. If he isn't really that, does somebody overpay for Jaylen Brown to be a number 2 on a different team somewhere out there? Who knows? Porzingis, probably cooked at this point. He can't stay on the court. Al Horford, God bless him, didn't even realize he was going to play this season. Drew Holiday, that's an overpay. They're going to be stuck with some of these guys, but the Celtics could be on a one-way ticket to full blow-up mode. And the assumption, again, I hope that Jason Tatum is who he was prior to the injury. But there aren't a lot of examples to show us that he will be. So we will have that conversation. And last but not least, and again, we have our Kings candidate of the day. Here's our tip for Kings candidate of the day. Here are the clues. And I never write these down, by the way. So
you just repeat them again.
I just repeat them over and over again. So this person, it was in the dunk contest, and it was terrible. It was terrible, okay? He was in one of the worst dunk contests of all time.
I've got to be honest, I forgot that.
Look it up. It was bad.
I didn't even remember that.
The son of an NBA player that you see quite often as far as the media is concerned. Eastern Conference, gritty guard, 6-man, but did some starting.
Point guard.
I
guess we should specify that too. Point guard.
I don't ever know what these sizes these days, but he seems to be a bit undersized to me, I would say. or he's not big. He's not a big point guard. Gritty, smaller point guard.
6'2".
6'2" point guard.
He just needs 1 more inch and he'd be perfect for the Kings.
Yeah, 1 inch shorter. Gritty point guard, 6'2", Eastern Conference.
Terrible dunk contest.
Daddy was in the NBA, and you see the daddy pretty often.
See, that's a pretty big clue.
That's pretty good.
The last one is, I think, too big of a clue.
But I do think, and Kyle found this one, I do think this is one of the more unique targets that we've cooked up. A lot of people, everyone's recycling, and we had to do Jonathan Kuminga because we had to, but everybody's recycling the Kumingas and, the Derek Whites, guys like that. This one is a deeper cut. So great job, Kyle, on that. And last but not least, the Tush push stays. There was some confusing reporting early, and we will never be done with Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce, who is not getting paid by an NFL team. He's not getting paid by the NFL. Jason Kelce, at the 11th hour, swayed the voters to keep the Tush push. And real quick, Kyle, do you know, do they just re-vote on this next? Is this never going away, or is it year by year?
So a team has to submit a proposal, and then it goes to a vote anytime they decide the proposal is worth a vote. So they could resubmit it at the next owners meeting, which is, I guess, going to be I guess they can't do it mid-season. So I guess next Super Bowl, I think, is the next time they can submit it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I know the Lions threw out the one of reseeding the playoffs based on regular season record instead of division winners, and then they pulled it because no one was going to vote for it.
On the other side, I think it's a little style espresso at 10:15. I think I finally figured out what's missing when I watch SGA. And it ain't even about the foul baiting. I think I finally put my finger on it. I'll tell you what it is as I was watching them take care of business against the Timberwolves last night. Allen Stiles, Sacramento Sports.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Shai up the left side to the baseline on McDaniels. Floats it up, counts it, goes, and it goes! Falling down, Shai lost it home. McDaniels trips him up, and and one coming for the MVP. Listen to the crowd. OKC down 8-0 to start by as many as 9 in the opening half. Walloped the Wolves in game 1, 114-88, a resounding message sent by the top-seeded Thunder as they pick off the Wolves in game 1 decisively, 114-88.
Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
On Sacktown Sports.
Great game from the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're rocking and rolling. They take care of business against the Timberwolves. And the Timberwolves, they're really good at convincing you that they have no chance, right, as far as winning a series. In one game, they're really good at just cooking a series and not looking very serious at all. And it was close for a majority of it, and then towards the end, it just got out of hand. And then the next game, they'll look completely different. But I wanted to focus on SGA, who I believe it'll be announced today.
Yes, today they're going to announce basically he's the MVP.
And I'll put it to you like this. He should be very happy, and I think this happens a lot. He should be very happy that the runner-up is not in the playoffs. If Jokic was still in the playoffs, it's like storybook. Whenever they announce the MVP, It's the chip on the shoulder, and that guy that comes in second balls out. So he should be very happy that they're not facing the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. I know they already beat them, but I feel like that always happens.
You know, they did that on purpose this year. Someone pulled the numbers. It was basically like the MVP is being announced 13 days later than it traditionally is. And everyone was like, well, why is that the case? Because they specifically did not want to announce SGA or Jokic while they were playing each other.
Wow. There you go. Getting some guesses for the trade target of the day. Larry Nance Jr. from Nick. Larry Nance Jr. is not a point guard, but his daddy did play in the league.
And he was in a terrible dunk contest.
And he was in a terrible dunk contest. So you did hit on some of them. All right, Kyle, it's time for some Style Espresso. Thank you. Somebody was in line, so I was waiting in line to get my Style Espresso. All right, let's start here. So once again, feels like every day we will be talking about foul baiting because either SGA is playing or Jalen Brunson is playing. We can make the argument, and I know SGA is technically taking less free throws than last season. I just saw that number. Bill Simmons is saying it's actually not that egregious. Other people are saying it's terrible. You know, there's a lot of back and forth, but I don't even want to spend too much time on that. I want to focus on what I feel like is missing when I watch Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and why I think there will be a struggle for him to be the face of the league unless he just rattles off 3 championships, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. To me, there are 2 paths to becoming a superstar and or face of the league. And we will go into different sports as well, but I'm mostly focusing on basketball. 2 paths. You have to either be relatable, mythical, or both. Jordan, mythical. LeBron, mythical. Steph, relatable. Kobe, relatable in how much he wanted to be MJ, because we all wanted to be MJ, and Kobe basically achieved it. So many overlays of how Kobe just copied MJ's moves. And so many kids did that growing up, and Kobe went out there and did it. And almost won as many championships. Giannis, Jokic, mythical. All of these guys are basically dream versions of the fans. I wish I could do what LeBron does. I wish I could do what Steph does. Jordan transcended the game. Steph changed the game. And outside of the NBA, Tom Brady is kind of both, even though QBs kind of just are their own thing anyway. He's relatable, but he's also mythical in what he's done in his career. I do think winning cures all, and if he continues to win, we will have that conversation. But you have Jalen Brunson, who's underrated. People said that he wasn't good enough to be a star in the league. And then after he was a star in the league, they still said he wasn't good enough. Tyrese Halliburton, a bit underrated. You know, he was traded from Sacramento. We know the story all too well. Anthony Edwards, whether it's positive or negative, couldn't be more relatable. This dude yesterday just casually dropped an F-bomb in the postgame presser, and ESPN missed it, right? They were too late on the delay. It showed up on TV. SGA just has to win because to me, right now, he is neither relatable nor mythical, right? I don't watch SGA and wow, what a physical specimen. I don't really know anything about him. I know his dad played in the NBA. I know he played at Kentucky. You know, part of that is, I think, the Canada situation, but it just feels like SGA just plopped onto earth and got traded from the Clippers and is now a dude. He's almost too cool, if that's possible. Again, he's just not relatable to me, and maybe that's just me, and he's not mythical either. So the only option he has is to just win. That's the issue, and it's more than one. You know, and I don't know. That's the thing. I know Anthony Edwards has said he doesn't want to be the face of the league. I don't know anything about SGA. And I watched some of the Netflix series, and they focused on other teams as well. And I learned a little bit about SGA. But yeah, it was great seeing him with his son yesterday, right before the game or whatever that was. It was great seeing that stuff because I just know nothing about him. He plays in a market that nobody pays attention to. Kevin Durant, he played in that market, but Kevin Durant was mythical. Kevin Durant was 7 foot, the only man in the history of the universe to lie about his height, saying he was shorter. The only man to ever do it, Kevin Durant. And the way he did what he did, he was the unicorn before he called Porzingis a unicorn. Mythical. And he was the upstart team with Russell Westbrook. And honestly, OKC was a new team. Wow, this team, everything that's going on in Oklahoma City, this is pretty cool to watch. But SGA, right now, the struggle that I have with him is he's not relatable, okay? And he's not mythical either. And historically, that has been the two paths, or you could be both, right? Because Steph, to me, I call him relatable because he's 6'3", and there's a dude that's Steph's height anytime you walk anywhere, right? I go on BART, and there's 3 dudes Steph's height. And we clap when Steph Curry dunks. He's 6'3" as far as his height. If a dude's 6'3", walked into the YMCA, you expect him to dunk, right? But he went to Davidson, even though his dad played in the NBA. And he had the late growth spurt, and he had to change the way he shot. We know his story, even though he got drafted high. So he's somebody that's both. LeBron, the chosen one, mythical. But SGA, to me, when I'm watching, as of right now, there's just absolutely no connection. So he has one choice to build that connection. We were joking about Luka. Luka is kind of the same, right? Or Luka's kind of a combination in a different way than Steph. Man, I wish I could. Every frat dude wishes they could be Luka, chug beers, smoke hookah, go out there and drop 35. He's everybody's dream. Luka barely dunked now. He's relatable and mythical at the same time. Out of all the guys that are left, Jalen Brunson, relatable. Tyrese Halliburton, or both of those guys, relatable, underrated, kind of go in the same category. And then you have Anthony Edwards, who's, I would say, mythical. But SGA, he's neither of those things. And James Harden was similar in a way. James Harden did have the patented, step back. But James Harden powered through, and they love James Harden globally. He's huge. But SGA doesn't even have he's got the free throw thing going on. I just think that the only way SGA will ever be MVPs are fine, but the only way SGA will be the face of the league is if he rattles off three of them things. I think it's got to be 3. I don't even think 2 is enough.
I'm going to put it this way. It's a combo. I'm going to put the over-under at 3.5 combo of MVPs and championships, right? Because if you keep winning MVPs, you will get the respect of just being one of the 2 best players in the league. Like, the part that I think is so frustrating about the SGA conversation, it's not SGA specifically. We do this with all the new people who are like arriving, and it's like, people said, can Giannis be a face of the league? And then he was, because he just won a bunch and beat people into the success.
But it's less about the success to me. I'm also talking about, I want to be that guy, right? People want it, and Giannis, I would argue, how much of that was Giannis winning? Because he only won once. How much of that was Giannis winning? How much of that was, I'm Giannis and I'm kind of cute because I talk about Oreos and Twinkies and I make sexual innuendos and it's funny. Giannis has a personality that we eventually saw, which I think helped just as much as that one single champion. He didn't even go to another finals.
Sure, but Shai has personality too. It's just nobody...
He's too cool, man.
He's got aura, right?
It's too much.
But
dial down the aura.
But this is the thing that I would bring up is like a player with that stuff. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is basically, if Kobe Bryant were born in this era, that's what Kobe Bryant would look like. And people's like, oh, Kobe never passed. Kobe and Shai average the same number of assists. So he's basically what Kobe Bryant would be in the modern era.
Right.
But to your point, Kobe Bryant was never the best player in the NBA. But Kobe Bryant, he only won 1 MVP, and honestly, he probably shouldn't have won it the year he did. But Kobe Bryant had people, relatability or just popularity. Kobe Bryant was one of the most popular players in NBA history, despite the fact that him and Shai basically play the same game. It's just different eras, so it looks a little different. So I think in that point, Shai can be mythic, or Shai can be so excellent that people will respect him.
Yeah, he can. He can. We just have to see it. And I would say the Kobe thing, because I do think personality-wise you're onto something, but I would say the Kobe thing, too, is he played in L.A., and that's a huge difference.
Yes, that's the big part of it, too, is Kobe Bryant is going to get more love because, one, he had the longer runway. Like, he was winning championships at 21 years old, and everyone knew who he was, versus Shai being a later bloomer. But, two, I think Shai is in the tough spot of having a more traditional rise instead of being like Luka was putting up 28 points per game and hitting buzzer beaters in the playoffs at 20. Like, we've had years to build the mythology over Luka, and both because of him being a late bloomer and Oklahoma City, just people actively ignoring Oklahoma City, it makes it tougher for Shai to get that mythology built around him. But if he wins the championship, we're going to spend all summer building the Shai mythology.
Bobby Marks breaks down the Western Conference rosters. How were they built, and how can the Kings do the same? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by San Francisco 49ers.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA3 Weather Center. It's Wednesday. Getting out the door to a pleasant start to the day with temperatures low 50s. As we head through the afternoon, expect plenty of sunshine, light winds, and it's going to feel warmer as highs move to the mid-90s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
San Francisco 49ers 2025 single game tickets are now on sale. Join the faithful at Levi Stadium. Secure your seats today at 49ers.com/tickets. That's 49ers.com/tickets.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Well, we know it's still fairly early, but in a poll conducted by MLB.com, A's shortstop Jacob Wilson was the runaway leader for American League Rookie of the Year. And why not? He leads AL rookies in virtually every important offensive category. The last A's Rookie of the Year? Andrew Bailey back in 2009. Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. It's how retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And it's how healthcare offices become data-managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business.
Memorial Day savings explode at Maida's Elk Grove Chevy. Save $12,500 off MSRP after rebates. Every new 2025 Silverado Turbomax in stock. And Maida Chevy has similar savings on every new Silverado. One of the largest selections of new Silverado in the Sacramento area. $12,500 off new Silverado. Exclusively at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. Now that's big. Huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Special finance and lease and some other offers.
Carmichael Dave here for my good friends at American Energy. As a native Sacramentan, I can tell you, not that you need to know, that it might be nice right now, but turn the corner. Oh my God, it's so hot. Yeah, you know, summer is coming. And my friends at American Energy want to make sure you are dialed with your AC unit. So how about this half off tune-up right now? It's a special going on, just $24.50 to get your air conditioner tuned up. A free diagnostic. And oh, by the way, if you need a new AC unit, up to $3,500 in rebates on qualifying system installations. That's right. They've been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Give them a call, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Here's the song.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Taking you up to 2 p.m. Somebody on the Sack Chat did, well, they kind of guessed somebody did guess the trade target correctly. Okay. That's coming up at 11 o'clock. And Chris Biderman, who always comes with the heat and keeps everybody accountable. Chris Biderman's coming up at 12, by the way. But somebody did guess the trade target correctly on the Sack Chat. Obviously, I'm not going to say who because everybody else can see it. But the hints were part of a terrible dunk contest. Daddy was in the NBA, and you see the daddy pretty often. Gritty 6'2" point guard in the Eastern Conference, and has started and has also been a six-man.
You're giving it away.
That's
here.
a layup. But then we get Larry Nance. Then we get a guess as the Larry Nance from Nick.
Larry Nance was a good
trolling.
No, it was a good guess. I mean, if you just missed one of the clues, but like Daddy who played in the NBA and bad dunk contest. The fact that there's two of those in the Eastern Conference is pretty funny.
So that's coming up at 11. And like I said, Chris Biderman joins us at 12. Roster building in the NBA. This is what Bobby Marks said. So he's talking about the Western Conference Finals, the tail of the tape, he says. 22 out of the 30 players are 26 or younger. That's crazy. That's crazy because you think about the 30, that also doesn't say how many are actually in the rotation. I wonder how many for the Thunder and the Timberwolves, just off the top of our head, are over 26 in the rotation. Is Hartenstein, I mean, he's just big, so I always think bigger people look a bit older, but is Hartenstein 26?
Hartenstein is 27.
Okay, so Hartenstein in the rotation.
Yeah, I think Naz Reid might be a sneaky 27.
You might be right.
Nope, 25.
Okay, so let's go through Thunder quickly. So he's saying 28 out of the 30 players, period, are 26 or younger. Now let's break it down. There's really about 16 that are in the rotation.
Yeah.
16 to 18, I would say.
The Thunder use 8.
So the Thunder use 8, and I know the Timberwolves use 8.
Yeah.
So you said Hartenstein is over 27. That's one.
Yes.
Obviously, Chet, no. Shai, no. Jalen Williams, no.
Lou Dort is 26.
Lou Dort is 20 or 26 or younger, so he doesn't count.
Nope. Caruso's definitely older.
So that's 2.
Yeah. Aaron Wiggins, no. Case Wallace, no. That's their 8.
What about that Williams dude who hit some random threes yesterday on the Thunder?
Jalen?
No.
Kenrich?
Yes.
I don't think he's a rotation guy.
Well, he balled yesterday.
Yeah, he's not. He's a regular season rotation guy. He's like their Trey Lyles.
He's getting count. Well, how old is he?
He's 30.
Okay, well, I think he's getting counted. So that's 2.5.
Man, I can't believe that dude was in college for a long time.
2.5. Now let's go to the Timberwolves.
Okay, so Ant younger, Jaden McDaniels younger.
We just did not. Rudy Gobert's got to be older.
Yeah, Rudy Gobert's in his 30s.
So we're at 4 now.
Mike Conley.
That's 5.
I think that's it.
That's probably it.
I'd have to look up Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
There's no way he's 27.
26.
Yeah, so 5 rotation players in the Western Conference Finals are 27 or older.
Oh, actually, I forgot. We got to look up White Dante real quick. DiVincenzo.
Oh, he's probably right at 27.
28.
Yeah, so 6.
6 if you include White Dante.
So if there are about, what we said, 16 to 18 rotation players, only 6 of them are over 27.
Yes.
That's insane. Now let's go to the Kings. Domantas Sabonis over. Zach LaVine over. DeMar DeRozan still on the team right now, so over.
Malik Monk, close.
Malik isn't 27. He's not 27.
He is 27.
Malik is 27?
Malik Monk is 27 years old.
That's 4 out of the Trey Lyles.
He's definitely older.
That's 5.
Then we got Keon is younger.
What about Jake LaRavia?
Oh, he's definitely younger.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only in his 3rd year.
So that's 5.
Yeah, he's 23.
Yeah. 5
Valanciunas, he's older.
6 out of the 9 rotation players.
Yeah.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
Based on the data that's being pulled here, right? Because if the Nuggets make the conference finals, that data's not the same. But specifically based on the OKC Minnesota conference finals, the young people have taken over the league, right? And they beat the older quote unquote teams, right? Minnesota, by getting there, beat the Lakers, regarded as an older team. The Warriors, regarded as an older team. Oklahoma City beats Memphis, which is a younger team, and Denver, which is regarded as an older team.
I mean, I whenever we do crosstalk with Dave, you just never know where it's going to go. But he would have loved this since he's kind of on the blow it up train. The roster building in the NBA, Bobby Marks has them, kind of ranked, and it says number 1, draft, number 2, trades, number 3, free agency. So as far as he's got them all broken down, the starters for the Minnesota Timberwolves, 2 of them are via the draft, 3 of them are via trade, right? Reserves for the Timberwolves, 5 of them through the draft, 2 through trades, and 3 through free agency. Starters for the Thunder, 2 through the draft, 1 through trade, 2 through free agency. Reserves, 7 through the draft, 2 through trades, and 1 through free agency. The Timberwolves have 10 players, 26 or younger. The Thunder have 12 players, 26 or younger, which is interesting because I know 26, that line of 25 is, I think, why Bobby's going in that direction, because you do think off the top of your head, and it is a difference between, we have a bunch of 26-year-olds versus having 23-year-olds, but we all talk about how young the Thunder are and don't really realize the Timberwolves are pretty young too, right? Yeah. They're a younger team too, and kind of built to keep this thing going. We know anything can happen throughout the off season.
I looked it up. It never made it into a segment, but it's like Oklahoma City's the 2nd youngest. The Timberwolves are the 12th youngest.
Yeah.
The Knicks are 15th and the Pacers are 18th. It's something like that.
Which is funny because if you were to ask me, I would definitely think that the Pacers are younger, just based on how they play.
Yeah, the other teams are all kind of right in the middle, was kind of my takeaway. Mm-hmm. I might have one of those flipped, but it's like the Thunder are the 2nd youngest and everyone else is kind of in the middle.
So as we kind of look at what Bobby Marks is highlighting here, I don't know, man. It's kind of difficult to sell whatever it is the Kings are attempting to sell to fans, where they're clearly, if you look at who's left, and I guess in the Knicks you can't really count because the Knicks are a big market, and who knows if they, and honestly, Jalen Brunson, he can look around and there's obviously a story on Jalen Brunson and the money that he left on the table in order for the Knicks to stay flexible. But Jalen Brunson had that connection with his pops. I don't even know that Jalen Brunson was the Knicks' top target, and it ended up working out for him. Becky Hammond and others, myself, saying that Jalen Brunson couldn't be a number 1 on a championship team. And no, they haven't won it yet, but they're knocking at the door. And, we can separate the Knicks and put them in a different category. But besides that, the draft is the way to go. And that is why people, like-minded people, sit there and say, what are we actually trying to do here? And I had to put out a caveat to, again, social media to say, hey, when we're having these conversations about what the Kings should do, and everybody is saying, why don't they just blow it up? That's not, when we're having these conversations, that's because we are under the understanding that they're not going to. That's not to say that I'd rather sit here and talk about Valanciunas developing a 3-pointer than to just start fresh. That's not to say, let's see who's going to be the perfect DeJounte Murray off an Achilles to work with Domantas Sabonis. That's not to say that I'd rather do that than just start over. But if they're telling us and the reports are that they're not starting over, then we're not going to waste our time talking about the Kings should start over, and rebuild, because they're not going to do it. That's basically what it comes down to. On the other side, John Horst said he's going for blood if he has to trade Giannis. Smart move or dumb one? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Your life, your goals, your legacy. With a dedicated Fidelity advisor, it's all part of a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Visit fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
When you stay in your home, what you love gets to stay too. From the gardens that grow wild to the grandkids that run wilder. From the Friday night baseball games to the Sunday morning brunches. Even the daily crosswords and weekly book clubs. There's room for it all with help from Home Instead, the largest in-home senior care network with over 30 years of trusted experience delivering the peace of mind you deserve. Visit Home Instead online for a better what's next.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that, and third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters in auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
Hi, Sacramento. It's the No Surprise guys at Bell Brothers Plumbing and Air Conditioning. Need a new water heater? Call Bell Brothers. Need drain or sewer work? Call Bell Brothers. Need a free plumbing estimate? Call Bell Brothers. We don't guess at plumbing and drain problems. We use advanced camera inspections and diagnostics to identify the issues. We're fast, reliable, and respect your time by showing up when we say we will. Our technicians are all background checked, drug tested, and will leave the work area cleaner than they found it. The price we quote is the price you pay. We are the No Surprise guys. With more technicians, more trucks, and more experience. We get the job done right the first time. No surprises. Don't wait. Call Bell Brothers today for a free plumbing estimate or book online at nosurpriseguys.com. That's nosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers. Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sacktown Sports.
916 and 916-339-1140 want to be part of the conversation. We're about to discuss the report of what John Horst possibly said. Kyle corrected me. Yeah, it is a report from The Ringer, but they got it from somewhere. Okay, they got it from somewhere. But we were talking about my style espresso was why SGA, what's missing with SGA when I watch him play, and why I think it will be hard for him to become a face of the league unless he just rattles off about 3 championships. And I talked about 2 paths being mythical, like Jordan or LeBron, or relatable, like Steph, and I would say Kobe too. Now, Kobe was 6'6", don't get me wrong, and he went out of high school. But when I talk about Kobe, the relatability is how much he just really looked up to Michael Jordan and emulated his game after Michael Jordan, because a lot of us did that. We just weren't as good as Kobe. So that's what I mean when I say relatable, and that there are a lot of different ways to be relatable. 916 chimes in and says, okay, I love talking about Anthony Edwards, who I think is almost relatable to a fault, says, but maybe he's not the superstar we anointed him to be. I want him to be, but you can't have 0 in the 4th. And this run is more Randall than him. He's only been over 30 times while scoring 20 or less. That's not superstar status. We would be bashing Kobe for scoring in the teens. Why does Ant get a pass? That's from Folsom Mike. If they lose, right, he won't get a pass. What's funny is if you have someone that a lot of people like, they do get treated differently. And that's not just in basketball, that's in everything in life. Because he'll get bashed and say, where was Ant? But I think the funny thing about Ant is he'll say, yeah, I played like trash. I need to be better. So then the prognosticators and, the talking heads will say, well, he owned it. That Anthony Edwards, he's so relatable. He even said he played like trash, right? In the past, you had the LeBrons, and we'll see what happens, but LeBron walking off the podium or literally saying, yeah, people that like watching me lose, their lives are sad and pathetic. And I'm rich. Now, he didn't say that verbatim, but
basically did.
He pretty much did.
Like, you joke, but that's what he basically said.
Not relatable at all. And that turned people off. Now, LeBron in his older years, and some people still don't like LeBron, but LeBron in his older years, kids, family man, people tend to come back around on LeBron. But Ant, the way he handles things, I think, again, there's a difference between, and we do this with Allen Iverson, there's a difference between being a all-time great and being a superstar that people just want to emulate. Anthony Edwards may never be an all-time great, but he could have kind of his own lane, if you will, just like Allen Iverson did, where people just love him. You know who's another name that kids love? And this was, around this time, I'm kind of post-college or in college, and also post-college. Who's another name that always throws me off? I think Kyan Anthony mentioned this guy as well. Kids that are hooping now, and I guess they're maybe in college or whatever, because time keeps flying, they love Paul George.
Yep.
They love Paul George. I don't know why they love Paul George.
Brandon Miller famously was like, Paul George is my GOAT.
And I don't know why they love Paul George, but they do.
Yeah. And Paul George is never an all-time great player. I think his best he ever finished was third for the MVP.
Yeah, but kids love. Now, I will say that's specifically basketball players, and a lot of people saw Paul George as not the beginning, but one of those early wings that started to, oh, wow, the two-way wing that can handle the rock and things like that. So I think it's more of a hooper thing versus this random kid that didn't play basketball after high school loves Paul George or would say Paul George is his favorite player. I don't think there's a lot of that, but hoopers love Paul George.
Well, the other part of it is the shoes. That's true. Everyone was rocking Paul George's shoes. My brother had some.
Here's another name. And I had some Paul Georges. You know who's another shoe that you'll see everywhere? Now, this guy's a champion, and he had moments, so he's not the same as Paul George. But Kyrie. Kyrie is not going to be an all-time great. Kyrie was never a number one on a championship team.
But Kyrie was the mythical category that you're talking about.
The ball's on a string. It looks like and one, but, he's doing it in the NBA, and he made the shot over Steph, and everybody loved it.
Right. It's Kyrie was doing something you couldn't see anywhere else.
So he's in that because he's, number one overall. So we can't say that, I don't know. Kyrie actually isn't terribly relatable. Right. And he's become everybody becomes more. Can we just say this? Everybody becomes more relatable as they get older.
Let's just put Kyrie like post 2020 in its own box. Yeah. Right. Let's let's say Kyrie from like 2012 to 2019.
Yes. When I was still hooping at the Y and pre-pandemic, all of that. Everybody had Kyrie Irving shoes. Everyone.
Before the pandemic nuked his brain. Let's say before that.
After the shot from 2016 to probably 2015, because everybody said, well, Kyrie, if he was playing, they would have beat the Warriors. From 2015 to 2018, 2019, because then they got Kevin Durant and things got a bit squirrely. 2015 to about 2017, 2018, Kyrie was it.
Sure. And
not one MVP.
It was up until the Boston. Once he got to Boston, that's when I felt like it kind of died out.
Yes.
But I will make this point too, because you're talking about, and this goes back to what Folsom Mike said on the text line too. You're talking about the mythical or the just excellent, like just you, and that's how you become the face of the league and a generational type player. But the barrier for entry to become a all-time great player is you have to be one of the two best players in the league. Right? This is what's happening with Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum's like, I want to be the face of the league. I want to be the American superstar. And everyone's like, yeah, but you're not good enough. Like, you're not a good enough player for us to anoint you as that.
It's that, and he doesn't have the captivating personality. He doesn't.
But I don't think you have to have that to be considered the all-time great.
You have to have something, though.
To be considered a face of the league.
Yes, but he's not putting up the video game numbers, and he's not Anthony Edwards. Because I think Steph grew into his personality, but I didn't think, when you hear Steph talk, it's kind of, we just got to do the right things. And as Steph won, but he doesn't need to have that, right? Sure. Steph doesn't need to have that. Caitlin Clark doesn't need to have that, although I think she does, which is why she's going to be a billionaire when this is all said and done. And once you add on to it, that's when it's, okay, now we're in a whole different stratosphere.
But this is the thing with Anthony Edwards, right? Anthony Edwards is not there yet. We just would say, if you had to pick the best basketball players in the NBA under 23 years old, number one is probably Wemby, and number two is Anthony Edwards, right? So some people are making the logical step of like, Ant is going to get there, but he doesn't have to be it right now. It would be cool if he would. He would be in a super exclusive club. If the Timberwolves win this conference finals, Anthony Edwards, by my math, would be the fifth player of the last 25 years to lead a team to the finals younger than 23 years old. It would be Tim Duncan, LeBron in 2007, Kevin Durant in 2012 with the Thunder, and Luka last year with the Dallas Mavericks. It's like you are doing it at a younger age than we would expect you to be a superstar. Because for most players, you're 26 like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you're 28 like Jalen Brunson. Like, that is the prime of your career. Ant is not there yet.
Let's ask the question like this. 916-339-1140, call line, text line, and the Sac Chat, obviously on YouTube. Just search Sacktown Sports 1140. Name a player whose popularity outweighs basically how good they are. Name a player, and it can be any sport. It could be NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. Name a player whose popularity is greater than their actual achievements.
Well, I'm going to say Jung-Hoo Lee. Sorry.
He does not deserve to be on this list. At least not yet. Not yet. So this John Horst, it's not a quote, but the reports coming from the Ringer is that they will go for blood if they have to trade Giannis. Everybody is freaking out saying, was that smart for him to allow that to get out? But I think, and why would Giannis want to go to a gutted team? I don't believe that he means the roster is going to be bad. I think he means you will not have another draft pick until Giannis has another kid, which might not be as long as you think. But it's going to be a very long time. I will take all of your draft picks, and you will have to wear it. That's it. I don't think it's, we're going to take all these. Everyone's saying, well, why would he want to go to a gutted team? The roster won't be gutted, but that team will not have a first-round pick for as long as legally possible.
Yeah, it's essentially saying, hey, Giannis, you want to go? I'm going to bid Oklahoma City against Brooklyn, against Houston, against San Antonio, and whoever gives me the blood offer package is the one that's going to get him, which is a strategy because in this situation, it's always tough to say, do you want to accommodate your star at the end? And obviously there's wiggle room, right? The Kings didn't have to send De'Aaron Fox to San Antonio, but they could have given him like 4 options and pitted those 4 teams against each other. That's kind of the happy medium. If Giannis gives him a list, because he has 2 years with a player option after that left, Horst can say if he wants, your list be damned, but that's always the tough part about trading a superstar.
Now, and I'm on record saying I don't think that they will cater to Giannis. I was talking about this yesterday on a different stream, and Giannis, because people are saying, Brian Windhorst said, if he wants to go to the Warriors, or the Warriors have enough to trade for Giannis, but Giannis would have to essentially say, I only want to go to the Warriors because so many other teams have enough. I look at it the same way I look at when you apply to a job, right? The qualifications say you need 4 years. You have 4 years. Yeah, you're qualified for that job. But if somebody applies and has 6 years, they're probably going to go with them. The Warriors have enough to be qualified, but they could get outbid unless Giannis says, I want to go to the Warriors, which even still, since the reports came out from Brooklyn, let's look at Dame. Dame ended up saying, I want to go to the Heat, but there were reports that Dame, you really just want to compete. So we're going to send you to the Bucks and you get to play with Giannis, and we're still doing you a solid. We're not sending you to whatever team. We're not sending you to a team that's just not compete, the Jazz or anything like that. So there's always a happy medium there. All right. It's about that time. Yeah, it was too easy. Everybody is guessing this one. We talk trade target when we return. Now, South Sacktown Sports.
The Memorial Day Race to Savings is on. Get the best deals of the season at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? During the Memorial Day Race to Savings, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot, 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 and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture with daily use.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here reminding you to gear up for Memorial Day and summer barbecue parties at Amy's Outdoor Living, your grilling headquarters. Now, while others have raised prices, Amy's is keeping their low prices through May 26th. Weber, Traeger, Rectech, Blackstone. New Traeger Woodridge, $200 off at $699. The popular Weber Genesis starts at $799. $799. Rectech pellet grills, my brother's favorite, lowest price of the year. And Gosney pizza ovens, I've had mine for a year. I love it. Starts at $399 plus no sales tax on in-stock patio furniture through May 26th. You need umbrellas or cushions? Amy's has a great supply in many colors. Memorial Day is the perfect time to get that new barbecue grill you want. Amy's Outdoor Living in 2 locations, in Sacramento on El Camino near Watt and in the El Dorado Town Center.
San Francisco! What a laser from Brock Purdy, and what a catch.
San Francisco 49ers single game tickets
are available now.
Intercepted by Fred Warner. Fred gets up and runs back the other way. One block and he's in. Gonna throw left for the end zone. It's caught by George Kittle.
Secure your seats at 49ers.com/tickets.
Touchdown!
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sacktown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting sacktownsports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacramento's official home of the 49ers.
San Francisco.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. Your home for Kings Talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
$11 It is time for our trade target of the day. And like we talked about, this brother right here goes about 6'2", born in 2000, just to make you feel a little bit old, unless you're Kyle.
Hey, I'm still younger than him.
Oh, we did not need to know that. Drafted in the first round of the 2020 NBA draft with the 15th pick to the Orlando Magic. His father, Kyle, his father is Greg Anthony. We are talking about the gritty point guard out of Archbishop Malloy in Queens, New York, and Oak Hill Academy in Virginia, Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony is our trade target for today. Now, I know what you're thinking, Alan. I thought we had height requirements here. Well, number one, I'll never hate on my fellow Zonts. But number two, the Kings do need a point guard. And, you know, he is 25 years old. For the people that get upset every time we bring up some of the kind of more recycled point guards like Dennis Schroeder or Tyus Jones, this is another path. Now, throughout Cole Anthony's career, he's played 320 games. Last season, he played 67, which, again, on the Magic, that feels like a win. That feels like a lot of basketball for the Orlando Magic, who struggled to keep players on the floor this season, specifically early on. So Cole Anthony in 67 games, he averaged 9.4 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, 2.9 assists per game, 42.4% from the field, 35% from three, 82.3% from free throw. His career, 320 games played, 12.5 points per game, so a little less this past season. His role continues to change. Jalen Suggs can't really get on the court. Paolo Banchero handles the ball a lot, so how much do they need the playmaking of Cole Anthony? 4.3 rebounds, 3.8 assists, so he's basically at 4 assists, averaging 4 assists for his career. Like I said, that Magic team, everything is just a bit ever-changing. So he's a confusing one to me. We know he gets after it defensively as much as a 6'2" guard can. I would like to see his assist numbers a little bit higher when it comes to playmaking. But as I said, you're dealing with at least one other ball handler. And in Paolo Banchero, you also have Anthony Black, right, who's another point guard. You have Jalen Suggs, who didn't play. I don't know if he played at all this season, didn't play a lot. And Franz Wagner, who is not a distributor, but can handle the ball. So I don't like 2.9 assists this past season, but at the same time, I kind of understand why it's there. And he's a dude who I don't know what his ceiling is, but I know he has to be better than the current Kings point guard situation.
Yeah, Cole Anthony is a very interesting case because he is another one of those fringe players who is not a top 20 point guard in the NBA, but might be a top 30 point guard. But I also don't know what to do with him on the Magic because when Jalen Suggs went down last year, they mostly started Corey Joseph at the point guard.
I think they started, and they were starting Corey Joseph, if I'm not mistaken, in the playoffs.
Yeah, Corey Joseph played in the playoffs, which is so fascinating because Anthony Black and Cole Anthony are the players they were hoping would be the long-term point guard options for the Magic, and they went with Joseph, who again is like 38 years old, and we thought was kind of done in the league at this point. So
real quick, just a story on Corey Joseph. So obviously, familiar with Sacramento, and in the media room, obviously they, make food for us because Jason and others will talk about, hey, how good was the media meal? So there's a whole media room, and it's rare that you'll see the other broadcasters, and that's pretty cool. But we're hanging out in the media room, and dinner had kind of just ended, and all of a sudden we look up and we see Corey Joseph just getting coffee in the media room.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
He was just getting coffee, and I think it was Matt George or somebody said, "Hey, Corey, what's up?" And he said, "Oh yeah, the whatever coffee they had in the away room situation." He was like, "This is the good stuff." So we just got some coffee and dipped.
See, he would know because he was obviously here.
That's right.
Once upon a time, he knows all the tips and tricks around Golden One.
That's
Center.
right. So that was just a funny story. He was just right next to us, just getting a cup of Joe.
Hey, what's up, Corey? How you doing?
So and at that time, he was not playing at all.
No, I just pulled up his contract. He signed for next season. He's got 1 year left. He has a club option for $3.4 million. That's basically a league minimum guy they thought was going to be a Matthew Dellavedova or a Jay Crowder, who essentially was playing over Anthony Black and Cole Anthony down the stretch. And again, I don't know what to do with that. Cole Anthony had an excellent game. The one game they won in the playoffs, I remember Cole Anthony was excellent for the Magic.
Oh, no, he'll randomly go off for 20. He is, to me, from what I've seen, and I don't know if this is who he is in the league, but it was giving off Malik Monk vibes in that the Magic always needs scoring, and he would just pop up off the bench and score.
It was the play-in game. The play-in game, he cooked Atlanta.
The last game of the season for the Orlando Magic, Corey Joseph played 20 minutes. KCP played 30 minutes and scored 8 points. He was so bad this season. I mean, historically bad. Anthony Black played 21 minutes and came off the bench. All three of their younger guards, because Gary Harris ain't that young anymore, but Anthony Black came off the bench. Cole Anthony came off the bench for 19 minutes, 3 points. Gary Harris came off the bench for 15 minutes, scored 3 points. That's bad.
Yeah.
Like that's bad.
But that's the weird thing about this is like their vision is that Anthony Black is going to take over and become their point guard of the future. I think Jalen Suggs is probably more of a 2 guard, but for now he has to play the point because they kind of just have a log jam of guards right now between obviously KCP, which they don't know what to do with, and Suggs and Black and Joseph and Anthony.
They are the Blazers. They are the Blazers of the East. They just have a foundational piece, and the Blazers don't.
Yeah, they just got the number 1 pick for Paolo.
Yes, that's the only difference.
They took Paolo, and the Blazers took Scoot Henderson.
That's right. That's right. And then they hit on Franz. That's the only difference. They both have way too many random guards.
I mean, you could say that, but like, is Franz Wagner that much better than like Anthony Simons? I think
he projects better.
Sure, he's younger right now, but I don't think he's that much better right now.
So as far as Cole Anthony, and we're not really selling him too well here, but this will bring you back. Cole Anthony just finished his age 24 season, and he was getting paid $12.9 million. His next season, he will make $13.1 million. Then there is a club option at $13.1. And then in 2027, 2028, when he's 27 years old, he'll be an unrestricted free agent. So that probably pulls you back in because it's a very team-friendly contract.
Yeah, this is essentially a 1 year commitment, which essentially, if it's 1 year and $13 million, you would essentially be doing a free agent signing, except you're trading for Cole Anthony instead of bringing in Chris Paul or Dennis Schroeder or Russell Westbrook or insert free agent point guard, Ben Simmons, whoever else, you would essentially be trading for Cole Anthony as a 1-year point guard option. So this is not, obviously not CJ McCollum or John Morant or Trae Young or DeJounte Murray, but he's closer to the free agent signings that wouldn't be a free agent signing.
Right. So we are going to discuss where this thing should go and what Kyle has cooked up as far as the trades that the Kings could make to receive Cole Anthony. And I think it's going to be very difficult whether you want to do this or not. I think you're going to be right on the fence because I'm just vaguely looking at it. I'm not fully looking at it because I like to react live with you, the listeners and viewers. It's going to be a tough one. We hear what the trade proposals are when we return. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Stay up to date on Sacramento sports. Join the Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter. Visit SacktownSports.com.
At Power Business Technology, we're not another big box corporation. We're your neighbors, locally owned and operated. We know what businesses like yours need, from reliable printers to high-performance copiers. We'll help you find the right solution with personal service you just can't get online. Need setup or support? We're just down the road and always happy to help. Power Business Technology, family hometown service with big-time solutions. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729 or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Skeeter here. Got a question. What's small and dark with white bands on its legs and bites during the day?
Mosquitoes. Hi, I'm Luz Maria Robles, but these are 2 new types of day-biting mosquitoes. They're invading our area and becoming a big problem.
And they can be dangerous.
But we're on it, so when you see them, report it at fightthebite.net. In the meantime, use insect repellent and drain stagnant water around your yard.
We're here to help with these day-biting mosquitoes.
Visit us at fightthebite.net.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app. Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Cole Anthony. And real quick, by the way, Chris Biderman joins us at 12 o'clock. Chris Biderman, I'm going to ask him some tough questions because I know he's going to let it sing from the mountaintop. I will. I was debating, and I'm going to see how far Chris Biderman's willing to go. We love Chris Biderman. I've been meaning to get out on the links with him. He's a heck of a golfer, is what I've heard. So Chris Biderman is somebody that when we first started this show, he was on weekly for more Niners stuff, but definitely want to continue to have him on the show because his Kings takes are outstanding, and the Niners are around the corner. So Chris Biderman joins us at 12 o'clock.
Niners are also in the news.
That's right. Real quick, just to kind of spin the block or close the loop on this one. Yeah, so what I was referencing, I believe that slam dunk contest with Cole Anthony was when JTA got second place and Cole Anthony dunked with Tim's on, and people were trying to explain, no, you don't know how tough it is to dunk with Tim's on. It was a mess.
Okay.
It was an absolute mess. It was a disaster.
I'm not going to lie. I don't even remember this one.
But it was a disaster.
I've also made it a tradition over the years to do like a trip during All-Star Weekend, though. So I haven't watched the dunk contest. Was this? So this was 2022 or 2023?
Cole Anthony dunks in Tim's. It was 2022. Cole Anthony threw down a windmill dunk while wearing Timberland boots. It was terrible.
Okay.
I'm just trying to confirm who won. Yeah. Guess who won?
I can't.
My man.
Is it Mac?
Obi Toppin.
Oh, okay. I do remember Obi Toppin winning a dunk. He had a cool one where he like threw it off the backboard and did between the legs. That was he had one good dunk. I remember
defeating Juan Toscano Anderson in the final round. So I was just having some fun. That was one of our hints when we were trying to keep you guessing on Cole Anthony. All right, Kyle, you have me guessing on how the Kings are going to get this done. And you better be careful because, you know, this Malik Monk slander is getting too much. I'm a pizza guy. I'm in the Pizza Guy fan club, and the slander is getting too much. Thank you. It's getting too much for the conversation as far as who the Kings should move. All right, what's going on here?
All right, so I'm just going to do the first one real quick, which is the Magic just decide. Let's say the Magic get a big money player and they just have to clear cap space. Then the Kings can absorb Cole Anthony into their trade exception from Kevin Huerter. It would basically be Cole Anthony for Terrence Davis, whatever. Cole Anthony for Terrence Davis, the Charlotte second round pick next year, and then they would kind of like swap second round picks this year. It's not a lot, but basically your pick 42 would become pick 57. So it doesn't make that much of a difference, but it's essentially Cole Anthony for a second round pick, and then they move down in the second round this year.
Okay.
Basically 2 seconds.
And the Magic, this is with the Magic saying we kind of just have to get rid of this contract.
Yeah, this is like the Magic land Anthony Simons and they have to move some contract situation. It's like the Magic just give him away, basically.
Well, obviously, I'm into this one.
Yes, but again, this would require the Magic to decide,
right,
we just straight up don't want Cole Anthony anymore.
PJ Washington-esque, but maybe worse than the PJ Washington situation with the Mavs.
Yes, because the Mavs would at least be getting, in our situation, a first round pick. This is the Magic saying, we just got to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Like anyone who wants a point guard can have him. And I guess the Kings would be that team.
Okay. Well, I'm obviously into that one. What else we got?
Okay. So the next one is cashing in the DeMar DeRozan trade chip.
Okay.
Now, in this situation, the Kings would essentially be selling DeMar DeRozan because they would be getting Cole Anthony, Jet Howard, former first-round pick, Gary Harris Jr. for salary filler, 1-year contract, and 2 second-round picks.
Where do I sign?
You're in on that one?
Where do I sign? I'm in. I'm in because I truly don't know what the Kings are going to get back for DeMar DeRozan. People could say, well, Cole Anthony, you know, and Jet Howard, like you said, Jet Howard, some people were kind of high on his ceiling. He's only 21. He's 6'6", shooting guard, but
former lottery pick, but got a lot of DNP CDs this year.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that I've grinded Jet Howard film, but he's 21 and he's 6'6". Get him on over here. And his pops is Juwan Howard.
6'6", too big.
Yeah, that's true.
Kings aren't allowed to have 6'6".
Well, Monty's gone now. We can do whatever the hell we want. Juwan Howard is his daddy. I'm in.
Just recreating all the old heads.
Yeah, it's just, here are the lines. You have to be a part of the early 2000s Kings, or your daddy had to be in the NBA.
Or your daddy was teammates with Chris Webber.
Or yes.
Or a former King.
A Sacramento connection. So I'm in on this deal. I don't know how good Jet Howard will be, but like I said, he's 21 years old. That we just talked about how young the playoff teams are right now, and specifically the starting lineups. We just saw, obviously, Cole Anthony is the ready-made player, and I truly don't. Now, would the Magic do it just based on their spacing and the fact that KCP, and we'll probably talk about KCP at one point because he's going to have a better, you would think he can't play worse than this. Yeah. So you might want to buy low on KCP.
In this situation, KCP would move to the bench.
Sure. DeMar DeRozan, to me, the Magic needs scoring. I think you can make the argument that gets maybe the Magic to the 4 seed or something like that. He's a more consistent scorer than KCP, obviously. And I think, you know, Malik Monk has been their target, or we believe Malik Monk to be their target. When we had on a Magic writer during the season, they do like 3-point shooting because they're lacking it, but they need consistent scoring. And that's what DeMar DeRozan will give you. So I could try to convince the Magic that they should take DeMar DeRozan. It's a short-term thing. You got him for a couple years. He moves on. You got cap space. Maybe by that time, Paolo is an MVP candidate, and they can, persuade some free agents to get on out there or make some other trades. Maybe Anthony Black now is ready to go and can do some more things offensively. If I'm the Magic, at least you're not getting spacing. That's kind of how the Kings looked at it. But if I'm the Magic, you're getting scoring. And maybe you take a little less off of KCP's plate and he remembers how to shoot again. Who knows?
And you get Jalen Suggs back, and that becomes a more natural fit. And honestly, it would be the Magic, because we did our match game with DeMar DeRozan, and we kind of figured out that it's like Orlando, Miami, and Detroit are the spots that make the most sense for what DeMar is this point in his career. Mm-hmm. This would just be the Magic essentially saying, we're going to lean into not being a great three-point shooting team, but DeMar might also make, I'm not saying Paolo's life easier, but right. I'm saying it's just a number two that you can go to when Paolo's not on the floor.
Yeah, and like we said, and he does have an interesting jump shot, but Franz Wagner, right, he can stretch the floor, he can shoot the basketball. So I like it. I think most Magic, nobody's going to sign, no fan is going to say, give me DeMar DeRozan. No fan of a team that isn't on the cusp of a championship, right? But the reality is DeMar DeRozan is still a hell of a basketball player, and your team is not going to win. The Magic are not going to win a championship next year.
Well, especially because the Magic are getting DeMar DeRozan for a player not as good as DeMar DeRozan in this situation. It's just
right, and a player that you could argue Jet Howard and Gary Harris. I haven't seen that brother. He was the first tweak of the Denver Nuggets, and Gary Harris. I have not seen that brother make a 3-pointer probably since 2016.
Yeah, Gary Harris, $7 million next year to come be Doug McDermott essentially for the Kings. I'm not saying Gary Harris is going to be a impact player. I just think that at some point there's going to be a Kings fan who's like, why don't they play Gary Harris the same way they were like, why don't they play Doug McDermott? It's like, yeah, the dude is a 3-point specialist that shoots 36% from three. That's all he is.
Trey on the text line, 510, shout out 510, says, Trey says, I actually used the NBA trade machine and traded DeMar for Cole Anthony and Wendell Carter successfully. It can be done. I just don't think they would move Carter. Right?
Why would the Kings want Wendell Carter?
Why not?
If you're going to go young player, wouldn't you rather go Jet Howard than Carter, who's A, about to hit free agency, and B, you already have two centers? Wendell Carter's probably closer to a stretch 4 than Valanciunas.
That's my point.
But he's not a stretch 4.
As I look, and in my mind, it's so funny? You see somebody hit a 3 when you're randomly watching basketball. That's a stretch 4. Go ahead, Kyle. Go guess Wendell Carter Jr.'s 3-point percentage.
I remember this because when they played the Kings in March, he went like 4 for 4 from 3, and I think he's like a 20% 3-point shooter.
Last year, on 2.3 attempts, so not nothing, 23% from 3. So I wanted to. I was with you, Trey, until I looked at him.
Except against the Kings, where he went like 4 for 4.
31% from 3 for his career. Wendell Carter Jr.
Yeah, I don't think the Magic. What, the Magic are going to play Goga Batadze 35 minutes a night?
Either. Yeah, I think to your point, I think both teams say no.
Yeah, I just don't think the Wendell Carter one makes sense. And by the way, Jet Howard is not the most prized possession in that Magic young core either. If the Kings want to shoot higher, they can. I just don't think they're going to be able to get Anthony Black.
All right, quickly, what's the last one?
This one, I think you're going to like the least just because it involves...
Here we go.
It's basically the same trade as the last one, except you don't get Jet Howard. It's Malik Monk for Cole Anthony, Gary Harris, and 2 second-round picks.
No.
I think you'd rather give up DeRozan and get Jet Howard.
Yeah, there's no question in my mind. All right, that was interesting. I'm down to get Nicole Anthony and Jet Howard, but I don't think I'm giving up Malik. We did too much Malik trade talk yesterday. I couldn't even sleep last night. It did not make me feel very good. This made Kyle feel very good as he did a deep dive on what happens with Oklahoma City, and is there a world where they could get someone on the Kings not named DeMar DeRozan and give up absolutely nothing as far as the money is concerned. Yeah, it's crazy, but it's Kyle. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Roseville Auto Mall.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA3 Weather Center. It's Wednesday. Getting out the door to a pleasant start to the day with temperatures low 50s. As we head through the afternoon, expect plenty of sunshine, light winds, and it's going to feel warmer as highs move to the mid-90s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
The Roseville Auto Mall is Northern California's ultimate destination when looking for your next vehicle. Find the largest selection with 20 top brands. Take advantage of huge savings during our Memorial Day sales event going on now at the Roseville Auto Mall. Driven to be the best.
Memorial Day is the unofficial beginning of summer and a time to reflect on the blessings we enjoy living in this country. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. At Naturewood's Memorial Day sale, you choose the offer. It's like 2 sales in one. Take 10% off regular prices or get 24 months of no-interest financing with payments on approved credit. Then you can choose from living rooms, sofas, sectionals, dining rooms, bedrooms, home offices, and so much more. Whether you're looking to lighten the mood in your living room, brighten up your bedroom, or tighten up your home office, you can shop and save big on the best selection of quality furniture, including Sacramento's largest selection of furniture made in the USA. Shop the area's best selection of quality furniture at Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for that water wheel.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Big O Tires, now through Memorial Day, get $80 to $120 instant savings on 4 select in-stock Cooper, Nexen, Nitto, or Sumitomo brand tires with installation purchase. Disposal fees extra, not good with other offers. See your locally owned Big O Tires store for pricing.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com, and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sacktown Sports.
Chris Biderman joins us in 30 minutes. 916. I just saw this text come in as I was getting ready to lead us back on in here. 916-339-1140. Any way to get Simons from Portland? I am very low on Anthony Simons. And to quote the great Chris Watkins, he just seems like a chucker to me, right? I don't know what else he brings to the table. He's like a Timu Donovan Mitchell. That's what Anthony
so disrespectful to Donovan Mitchell.
No, he just reminds me of some, okay, cool. He goes for, and I don't know, has he ever gone for 50? I feel like Anthony Simons just chucks, and every now and then he'll go off for 35, and then and they lose because they're the Blazers and they stink. And that's pretty much it. He's not as young as you think. He's 25 years old.
Anthony Simons' career high is 45.
Yeah.
He has 4 40-point games.
24th overall pick, by the way. So definitely a hit, don't get me wrong, but 19 points per game, 2.7 rebounds, 4.8 assists. Like I said, he's 25, so he's not old. Don't get me wrong.
Is he basically Jordan Poole but a better reputation?
He's Jordan Poole with better PR.
Yeah,
that's literally it.
He's Jordan Poole but didn't get punched by Draymond.
Yes, he's Jordan Poole, no punch.
Jordan Poole without the embarrassment of getting punched on video by Draymond.
And I honestly think, and we could. Now you got me talking about Jordan Poole, but I would, and I hope I'm right here. If he doesn't, I'm going to say Jordan Poole is a better passer, and if he doesn't have as many, okay, Jordan Poole 4.5 assists per game, Anthony Simons 4.8. But look who Jordan Poole's passing it to. Right, it's 0.3. If Jordan Poole was actually playing with NBA players, he's probably averaging 6 assists.
Jordan Poole's career high, also 45.
Crazy. 20.5 points per game for Jordan Poole, 37% from three. Anthony Simons, 36% from three. How many threes are they each taking a game? Anthony Simons is taking 8.5. 8.5 threes per game for Anthony Simons.
I bet you Poole is more.
Jordan Poole, no. Well, yeah. Last season he took 9.1.
Yeah.
They're just chucking. If I'm going to get a chucker, give me Jordan Poole.
Can I get a chucker that isn't making $30 million a year?
It's so funny. They're both 25 years old. Yeah, this is hilarious. They are just literally the same person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's Jordan Poole with not getting punched by Draymond.
It gets weirder. Anthony Simons' birthday, June 8th. Jordan Poole's birthday, June 19th.
Same year?
Same year. Both 25.
They both have the same career arc.
Just didn't get socked in the face.
Well, one played with Steph Curry and got a ring.
Wow. So I'm sorry, 916. I don't see what the Kings would do with the 25-year-old chucker.
I'm going on vacation, so I'm going to be out tomorrow and
Good for
Friday.
you.
But
you deserve it, Kyle.
Thank you, Alan. But before I leave, I might have to put together an Anthony Simons target of the day for you.
I'm not going to read it unless
you wouldn't trade DeMar DeRozan for Simons straight up.
Sure, I would do that.
I know Portland wouldn't.
No, Portland would say, get out of my face.
But you'd rather have a $25 million chucker who's at least 25.
Let me ask you a question. Who would Magic rather have? Malik Monk or Anthony Simons? You're paying Anthony Simons like $6 million more a year, but he's 2 years younger. I think Malik, I don't know if Malik's a better passer or not. I want to believe you got a better two-man game.
I think they would go with Malik. But I think that's also because Simons has 1 year left and Malik has 3 years left.
I think they're going Simons. Because Malik is starting, I think, could worry me shooting the basketball. Anthony Simons, if there's one thing he's going to do, he's going to chuck.
So you have Simons starting on
the
Magic at the 2.
Instead of
KCP.
No, I would still start KCP because I don't know, defensively.
So then,
how tall is Simons?
So then Simons is coming off the bench.
No.
So you're starting KCP and Simons?
No, yes, I'm starting both of them.
That's not going to work because you have Franz, you have Paolo, you have Wendell Carter, and then you need a point guard.
Yeah, we just talked about my guy that was grabbing coffee. He started. Corey Joseph started.
Yeah, but I'm saying you can't start Simons, KCP.
Are you talking about Suggs?
What?
Are you talking about Suggs coming back?
No, I'm saying Franz Wagner, Paolo, and Wendell Carter. That's their front court, right?
Okay.
So in the back court, you're starting Simons and KCP?
Yes.
But there's no point guard.
Simons is a point guard.
Simons is not a point guard.
Paolo handles the ball anyway.
So Paolo's the point guard.
All right, let's get to now. You're running out of time now for your segment because you want to talk about the Magic.
Because you want to talk about Anthony Simons.
No, I didn't want to talk about Anthony Simons. The 916 want to talk about Anthony Simons, and I want to talk about he's a chucker. So Kyle did all this research, okay, for a very random situation as the Thunder, if they don't win, a crazy pivot that they could make, which could affect the Kings in a very interesting way. All right, Kyle.
So let's play this out first, and then you can react to it. So Oklahoma City loses in the conference finals to Minnesota. Maybe they run it back next year. maybe they do what Boston did after losing in the conference finals to Miami and make that all-in 2-year window move while Chet and Jalen, while Shai is on a cheap deal, essentially. Shai has, after this year, 2 years and like $90 million left on his deal. Shai's going to make less than Zach LaVine over the next 2 seasons.
Yes.
So you can essentially cash in on that window for 2 years by trading for a superstar or a star, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm choosing to do the scenario where if Oklahoma City loses in the conference finals, Sam Presti could offer Scott Perry a Domantas Sabonis package that Scott Perry cannot refuse. Just cannot outright refuse.
I'm listening.
Now, a few things to note first here. One, Sabonis is if I were to pick a perfect teammate for Sabonis to play for in the entire league, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay. That
That is the number one player I would say is a perfect complement to Sabonis's game. Number two, Sam Presti drafted Domantas Sabonis back in 2016 when he was on the Oklahoma City Thunder for 1 season before he got traded for Paul George. So Sam Presti loves himself some Domantas Sabonis. And 3, Oklahoma City still has 29 draft picks over the next 7 years that they will not be able to use all of. So basically there's a situation where the Thunder trade for Domantas Sabonis without giving up any of their core 5 players, and they can keep all of those players under contract and below the second luxury tax threshold for 2 seasons, like Boston just did with Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. And that situation is where the Thunder get Sabonis, they give up Hartenstein, Isaiah Joe, which they're going to have to trade him no matter what. Right. Hartenstein, Isaiah Joe, Kenrich Williams, who you just discovered yesterday is a baller.
Well, I already knew, but yes.
Yes. It'd be Hartenstein, Isaiah Joe, Kenrich Williams, the 15th pick in this year's draft, 4 future first-round picks, and 5 seconds for Sabonis, which would give the Thunder Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Sabonis, Chet, Jalen Williams, Caruso, Lou Dort, Cason Wallace, and Aaron Wiggins for the next 2 seasons. And even though they have to give Jalen and Chet extensions,
right,
they would still be under the second luxury tax with, I think it's like Topic, the other Jalen Williams, and like a draft pick to kind of round out the roster.
One thing I'll say, just to confirm, so they'd have 2 years? They'd be able to do this for 2 years or 1?
2. Because even though Jalen and Chet would get max extensions that would go into effect, because Shai is only at like $44 million, even with Jalen and Chet on maxes for 1 year, they could keep Shai, Jalen, Chet, Sabonis, Caruso, and Lou Dort and still be under the second apron, essentially.
Well, there's no conversation here. Scott Perry's doing that, right? There's no doubt in my mind. Am I crazy to say give me Topic and keep 1 first rounder? Is that insane?
Would you rather have Topic or the 15th pick in this year's draft? Topic was the 12th pick last year and had a torn ACL.
Yeah, that's tough. I'm not gonna go back. I'm not gonna try to haggle with you because first round picks are just the most valuable thing ever. So sorry, Topic. I really hope that you're not a generational because we're not gonna take you. Yeah, you're doing that deal.
Salary filler, 5 firsts and 5 seconds.
Do you think the Thunder would give up all of that though?
Isn't that the cost of doing business? I'm not saying all 5 picks are going to be lottery picks either. You know, it'll be like some in the back half of the first round, some in the middle of the first round.
Well, already 1 isn't.
Yeah, one's the 15th. I mean, that's basically a lottery pick.
4 more first rounders, 5 future second rounders.
So anyways, at the end of it all, the Kings would obviously be tearing it to the ground, but they would have Hartenstein instead of Sabonis and 22 draft picks over the next 7 seasons, 14 firsts and 8 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing that. There's no question.
You would do Sabonis for bad contracts and 5 first-rounders.
Yes. Now, is that what ownership would want to do? I don't know. But actually, I kind of do know. But even someone who doesn't want to tear it down, I don't know how it gives you a path, it gives you a direction, and you say, okay, now we're lockstep together, Scott Perry, ownership, the organization, let's see what we can do.
Yeah, and the Thunder's case is like, why would the Thunder do this? You get Sabonis, an all-NBA center for Hartenstein, essentially.
Yeah. And you have too many picks, right? You have a ridiculous amount of treasures that you're not going to be able, you have to use them for something.
Or you could do what San Antonio did last year with Dillingham, which is like, we're just going to keep trading them backwards. We're like never going to use the picks. We're just going to keep kicking them down the road until you make this trade. Like, this is the trade they're kicking the picks down the road.
You have an embarrassment of riches. I think most people would say the Thunder have too many options. And because they have so many options, why would Domantas Sabonis be on the top of that list? I think your best argument is that we know Sam Presti seems to have an affinity for Domantas Sabonis. That's your best argument.
Well, and Sabonis makes a lot of sense with that team because you get rebounding, which is the whole reason why they signed Hartenstein.
Right. He gets that 4 in Chet. That is the 4 that everybody says that he needs to play with. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, and you get not just a playmaking guard with 3 levels of scoring ability, you get essentially the modern day Kobe Bryant as your number 1 to go along with Sabonis as the number 2.
I like it.
For which side?
For both.
Okay.
I like it more for the Kings than for the Thunder because the Thunder have so many choices. I don't know if they're going to say Sabonis is what we are missing. After they lose to the Timberwolves, are they going to come out of that saying, we need Domantas Sabonis? I don't know. We have to see, how it, in this world, I guess, that is what they would feel like they would need, which is why they would do the deal.
And they would have 2 years of this. They would have next year and the year after, and then either Chet's going to not be good enough and they'll move on from Chet, or they'll probably have to move on from Sabonis.
Wow. Look at Kyle digging deep. Let's continue that conversation. Would you do that deal? Would the Thunder do that deal? Also, as we talk about teams making decisions, am I tripping or could the Celtics be on the verge of blowing it up? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
When you stay in your home, what you love gets to stay too. From the gardens that grow wild to the grandkids that run wilder. From the Friday night baseball games to the Sunday morning brunches. Even the daily crosswords and weekly book clubs. There's room for it all with help from Home Instead, the largest in-home senior care network with over 30 years of trusted experience delivering the peace of mind you deserve. Visit Home Instead online for a better what's next.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
San Francisco!
What a laser from Brock Purdy, and what a catch
San Francisco 49ers single game tickets are available now.
Intercepted by Fred Warner. Fred gets up and runs back the other way. One block and he's in. Gonna throw left for the end zone. It's caught by George Kittle.
Secure your seats at 49ers.com/tickets.
People are coming from all over to Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, from Folsom, Elk Grove, Woodland, Roseville, because they've seen for themselves the huge selection and the best prices at SacSuperstore.com. Good luck finding a lower price anywhere else. And if you do, they'll match it. It's as simple as that. Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where a handshake still means something. Open until 10 o'clock and centrally located right across from Hagen Oaks Golf Course. And online at SacSuperstore.com. The guaranteed lowest price and the best selection of Dodge, Chrysler, Jeeps, and Rams. SacSuperstore.com.
Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
I can't wait to post that on social media, what we just talked about, and people are going to lose it, Kyle.
Sabonis for Hartenstein.
People are going to lose it. I can't wait. I'm all for it. They gotta lose for them to want that, and I don't know that they're going to lose, to be completely honest with you.
They should win the championship.
Yeah.
And I said it yesterday, whoever wins the West is going to win the championship, and they just beat Minnesota by 30.
Did that game surprise you at all? Like I said, Minnesota is very good at looking very bad, and they didn't look very bad, but they'll just miss everything, right? And Ant kept saying, he kept saying they kept getting into the creases, and he was just not able to get downhill at all. So he becomes a bit of a chucker, and the chucking wasn't working. So the Thunder, they take care of business. They're crazy defensively. But we've fallen for this before. Now, obviously, Steph went down, but we've fallen for this before. It was so funny during the post-game presser when Ant was dropping F-bombs, when they got asked about, hey, you've been in this position before. How do you think this helps or whatever? And I just wish an Ant would be the person to do this, to just call out the elephant in the room for as much as, hey, we're not taking anything away from them. Yeah, we did this before against a team that was missing not just their best player, but about 60% of their offense. The Warriors, they would have got beat down by the Thunder, even if Steph was healthy, simply because I think it's a chicken or the egg thing where you have these games where you're only getting 1 day off, right? You would have got that random 3-4 days. Let's say the Warriors win in 6 or whatever it is. Now you got to go face the Thunder. They weren't ready for that smoke. So, and with that being said, the Timberwolves beating the Warriors and how they took care of business, that's all fine and good. But I don't know if the Timberwolves are ready for that smoke. But I might be falling for the okie doke because the Timberwolves will look horrible for one game and just miss everything. And Naz Reid just with his credit card hops, just not getting it done. And then they're really good. I guess what I'm saying in a backhanded compliment type of way is that the Timberwolves are really good at making adjustments. And they said that. They said, we got to go back, watch film, and make adjustments. And they've proven to be pretty darn good at making adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, starting with the Minnesota of it all is like the Timberwolves are a very good team, right? Let's not put the 30-point game out there as like, oh, they don't belong here, blah, 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 right? The part that, and this is what I said yesterday, is like in traditional NBA history, Minnesota, who has gotten deep in the playoffs and lost, made the big trade to try and improve their roster, has the superstar coming into his own. That's the team that beats the youngest team in the league that's made their first run of the conference finals. But Oklahoma City is just such a historic anomaly. From January 1st onward, they were the best offense and best defense in the NBA.
Right.
Like, they can just beat you with so many different things. And you've seen that in the playoffs. They beat Memphis by 50. In game 2, they beat Denver by 40. In game 7, they beat Denver by basically 50. If you go from the 4-minute mark in the first quarter until the end of the game, yesterday they beat the Timberwolves by 30 something points, and they were losing at halftime.
Yeah.
Like Oklahoma City, when they are playing well, is an all-time great team. Like, we're talking 80s Lakers, 90s Bulls, 2000 Spurs. You can stack what the Thunder are doing up against anyone, but it's so strange to see that happen when you're talking about a team that is so young. So I kind of look at it as respect for the Thunder more than it is Ant was settling or Ant didn't get downhill yesterday, which he didn't, but I don't think that's the reason they lost.
No, I don't think it's the reason they lost, but it's the reason he had 0 points in the fourth.
Yeah, I think I was watching Kenny Beecham, who did a great breakdown of the SGA foul thing, and it was like SGA had 28 drives to the basket and Ant had 7.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember that Mind the Game pod that we listened to, it's like settling for mid-range jumpers is the death of essentially a star.
Hey, you watch that.
Settling for mid-range jumpers.
You watch that. All right? DeMar DeRozan's still on the team, okay?
DeMar DeRozan was hunting for mid-ranges. Settling for mid-ranges is the death, and it felt like Ant was settling for a lot of mid-range yesterday.
Jalen Williams, and look, this is, I love joking about how many guys are in double figures. The Thunder beat the Timberwolves by nearly 30 points, and Jalen Williams had 19, Chet had 15, Hartenstein had 12, Shai had 31, and that was it for the double figures. Alex Caruso had 9, he got close. It was even worse, though, for the Timberwolves. Julius Randle had 28, Anthony Edwards had a rough 18, and nobody else even got close. Dante had 9 points, and like I keep saying, Naz Reid has been awful. He's been so bad that he might be a Sacramento King. That's how bad he's been. 4 points last night. He played 28 minutes. That dude, somebody, I don't know if it's Space Jam or what, but somebody took his talent. Somebody needs to find him the special stuff. The Monstars took him because Naz Reid was looking like a complete beast, and he's been awful pretty much all playoffs.
You know what's funny is that I think the answer for Naz Reid is somewhere in the middle, right? Like, he's been bad this playoffs, but he was starting over Karl in the conference finals last year. I think the acquisition of Julius Randle just balanced out their roster a bit, and they're actually better now playing McDaniels, Randle, and Gobert versus last year. They were better off at times playing Naz at the 4 and McDaniels at the 3. So I think it's more roster construction that's pushed Naz Reid out of the role that he was in last year.
I'm looking here. He's actually averaging more points than he did last season. He's at 14.2 this season. He was at 13.5 last season when he won 6th Man of the Year from three-point land. Crazy last season. Last season, he shot 41% from 3 on 2.9 or on 5 3-point attempts. This season, he's still shooting 37 on 5.8. So, great from three-point land. It's funny. He's averaging 5.8 3-pointers a game and 5.8. I was double checking that I didn't say it wrong. And 5.8 2-pointers per game as well.
You know, Minnesota's still out. I'm sorry. Minnesota might lose in this round. And there's reports that they are the Kevin Durant destination if they lose. Naz Reid is going to get $25 million from the Suns, right? Naz Reid could still get cashed out by someone.
He's not Ty Jerome in it, but he's starting to mess up his money a little bit.
What he's rooting for now is for Kevin Durant to get traded because Phoenix is going to cash that dude out.
Here it is. Naz Reid has a player option for $15 million. The question is, has he tricked it off that bad that somebody won't give him $15 million? The answer is no, but
it ain't $100 million.
He's definitely, he was going to opt out and get 20 a year, 25 a year. Now he's going to opt out, and I think he'd be happy to get to, I think he was going to start at 20 a year coming off of last season. Even though he's averaging more points, his playoffs have been horrendous. He's going to opt out and probably think, if only life is about timing. If that opt out was last season, he gets 25, maybe more.
He just needs Danny Ainge to come through for him.
Maybe more.
Just cash him out, $25 million a year. Go play for the Jazz.
Yeah.
Go play for the Suns. Just needs that one team to cash him out.
Yeah. Well, and I'm just thinking now, even at whatever he's at, the Kings, they can't. He's out of the Kings.
Well, it'd have to be a sign and trade, but the Kings have basically nothing Minnesota would want. I'm just being real. There's nothing on the Kings that would fit on this Minnesota team.
Zero.
Right? You want another guard that's just worse than Anthony Edwards?
Yeah. Malik Monk, right?
I'm saying all three of them are just like do the same thing as Anthony Edwards, but way worse.
Yeah. On the other side, Chris Biderman, who is the best, joins us from the Sacramento Bee, and we're going to get deep in the weeds on your Sacramento Kings. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $32.99 at O'Reilly Auto Parts. In-store only, limit supply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Hi, Sacramento. It's the No Surprise Guys at Bell Brothers Plumbing and Air Conditioning. Is your AC on the fritz? Call Bell Brothers. Looking to replace your old unit with a 0% financing and no payments for 12 months on approved credit? Call Bell Brothers. We're fast, reliable, and respect your time by showing up when we say we will. The price we quote is the price you pay. We are the No Surprise Guys. Call today to get a free estimate on a new HVAC system, or simply schedule your $87 AC Precision tune-up to keep your system running smoothly. With more technicians, more trucks, and more experience, we get the job done right the first time. No surprises. Our technicians are all background checked, drug tested, and will leave the work area cleaner than they found it. Don't wait. Call Bell Brothers today or book online at nosurpriseguys.com. That's nosurpriseguys.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Gotta do is put a drink.
Eric Church is back and bringing his unforgettable live show to Sacramento. Eric Church Free the Machine Tour with special guest Charles Wesley Godwin. Golden One Center, November 13th. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. His new album, Evangeline vs. the Machine, is out now. One epic night of music that you won't want to miss. Eric Church Free the Machine Tour. Live at Golden One Center, November 13th. Get tickets now. For more, visit ericchurch.com. Produced by Messina Touring Group.
Memorial Day celebration comes early at Elk Grove Honda. There's no need to wait for Memorial Day weekend to see, test drive, and purchase your brand new Elk Grove Honda. Civic hybrids, Accord hybrids, CRV hybrids, and Pilots, Passports, Odysseys, HRVs, Prologue EVs, and so much more. They're all available right now at attractive prices. Whether you're looking to own or lease and can't wait until Memorial Day, visit Elk Grove Honda in the Elk Grove Auto Mall. We have the right Honda at the right price.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ziprecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free.
Your local sports leader in the 916.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, Sacktown Sports 1140. Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
12 o'clock, taking you up to 2 p.m. And, I have been teasing this guy because he always comes with that fire. Last time I talked to him, he was not a member of the married crew yet, and now he is. Chris Biderman, great to see you, man. Great to hear from you, and congrats as well. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's been fun. It's actually not all that different, given that we've lived together for a little bit, well before the wedding. But I appreciate the kind words, of course.
So this is what happened. So today is my anniversary. Actually, it's my 3-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Very similar to you. We are college sweethearts. We've been dating for a very, very long time prior to the wedding. But hey, that's California for you. And we're having this conversation, and I made a joke. The problem was I made a joke about contracts and free agency and how if there were a 3-year deal, right, where you would sign a new deal, hit free agency. This joke was made about a week ago. I completely forgot that in the coming week, my 3-year anniversary was coming up. So, Chris, don't make jokes like that. All right, I know you've only been married for about a month or so. Don't make jokes like that, okay?
I haven't been married as long as you, but I do feel comfortable that I know better than to make a joke like that.
Fair enough. Chris Biderman joins us of the Sacramento Bee. Chris, I've been asking a lot of people this, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts. What have you learned about the Kings watching these NBA playoffs?
Oh, man. I've learned that the way the Kings build their team is not exactly in congruence with how some of the best teams construct themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of focus on defense and rim protection. I was combing through the stats earlier this week. Among centers per 36 minutes, and this doesn't filter out all the centers who have played in the league, but Domantas Sabonis is 100th among NBA centers in block shots per 36 minutes. And that's not to say he's not a good rebounder, but the rim protection element for the Kings is just severely lacking, particularly when you look at the fact that, aside from Keegan Murray, they don't really have any wings capable of playing high-level defense. So I would say, you have in the finals here, you have Mitchell Robinson with the Knicks, or the conference finals, I should say. You have Rudy Gobert, Isaiah Hartenstein. Like, you have a bunch of good rim protectors left in these playoffs, and the Kings don't really have any rim protection. And that's the one thing that stands out to me. The other obvious, have a point guard.
Yeah.
Maybe, a point guard would help. And I know that's going to be a priority for them this offseason, but those are rim protection and the lack of a point guard are the two things that I think when you watch the playoffs and think about the Kings, that's what they're lacking.
Talking to Chris Biderman of the Sacramento Bee. Chris, we haven't spoken since a couple different moves with the Kings have been announced. BJ, let's go here. I know where you're at with Scott Perry and where most people are. We've moved past that a little bit. BJ Armstrong, Bobby Jackson, what did you think of those moves? Were you moved at all by those transactions from the Kings?
Was I moved? I wouldn't say I was moved. I think they're adequate, reasonable hires. I think BJ Armstrong, particularly as a former agent, and it's obviously well connected throughout the league, and that's kind of the theme, right? It's the Scott Perry, BJ Armstrong, the connections they have throughout the league, their professionalism, all of those things. Like you want that in members of your front office. Will it translate to being able to construct a winner? That remains to be seen.
Right.
But I think they're perfectly reasonable moves, and now it's up to them to address the deficiencies in the roster and see if they can get this thing turned around.
You know, I know that you do a lot of traveling for the Kings. So I'll say, Chris, come on, we're going to go eat. And you say, I'm going to go hop into the other team's media session and things like that. So I think you'd have a better barometer than most people would. Vivek Ranadive and ownership, the fact that so many moves have happened, and, we saw the Suns owner pop up when they made moves. We saw the Nuggets owner pop up when they made moves, specifically because of when you go to a game, he's sitting there front and center and you can see him. Do you think it's, I don't know, for lack of a better term, odd that these moves are being made? And these are wins, right? People can go back and forth and say, well, so-and-so only shows up when they're wins. They're nowhere to be found when they're losses. But this is stuff that you would think he should be proud of. Do you find it a bit interesting that we just haven't seen him or heard from him? You saw Joe Lacob met with, Sam Amick and Anthony Slater right after the game ended, and they got a kind of a 10-minute piece on that. Do you think it's interesting that we haven't really heard from him, but we see him all the time?
Yeah, absolutely. He's the most prominent decision maker in the organization. I think that's pretty clear. And one thing you'll see from, not every team does it, but from the vast majority of teams, is owners will hold court, whether it's in a press conference setting or in a smaller scrum with reporters, just so fans can hear them. And I feel for Kings fans in this way because, and look, some Kings fans don't care if Vivek talks, and that's totally fine. But what I would say to them is, look, like if there's somebody who's making decisions like firing Mike Brown, like trading De'Aaron Fox for Zach LaVine, and is largely responsible for long playoff droughts and key decisions within the organization, these fans are paying thousands and thousands of their hard-earned dollars on season tickets, on food, on jerseys, on everything else. And the one who is making all of that money and spending it back into the team is not answering any questions at any point about all of these decisions, many of which have not led to positive results. So yeah, if I were a fan, I would be a little annoyed, particularly if I was a season ticket holder, pouring so much money into this team for this product that has gone downhill the last couple of years, right? Particularly coming off of being the number 3 seed in 2023. So yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, not every owner wants to talk to the media. Not every owner is built to handle those situations and take those tough questions, and all of that. I fully understand that, but I'm definitely of the mind that if you are willing to make these types of decisions that and take in all of this money that these season ticket holders and these fans are bringing you, you should be able to answer questions and explain your line of thinking, why you make some of the decisions that you make. Easy for me to say.
Or hey, I'm not going to be making these decisions anymore, right? Just something that would give a little bit more clarity. Talking to Chris Biderman of the Sacramento Bee. Chris, I don't know if you saw this, but hey, we're in the summer, man. Offseason, it came pretty early this go-round, and Kyle and I have been having different conversations on what the Kings can do. Okay, fine, they're not blowing it up. Where should they move? Prior to moving De'Aaron Fox, we had a lot of conversations about them following the Denver Nuggets model. You had Jordi Fernandez coming over from Denver, and that all makes sense. So we put it out on social media, and I had a comparison of, Domantas Sabonis, not comparing him to Jokic, but that's who he would be in this model. We had MPJ and Keegan, or Keegan and Aaron Gordon, whatever it is, and people that are just seeing that clip are saying, Allen, come on, man. We know it's summer, but you've lost it. If the Kings aren't going to follow a model and they're not going to blow it up, I just don't really know what we're doing. Do you think it's crazy for me to say that they should still try to follow the Denver Nuggets model, even though they lost in the second round, which is somewhere the Kings haven't been since the Bush administration?
Right. So I would say a couple things. I don't think you're totally off in terms of the Nuggets being a model, because that is a team that's won a championship, and that's ultimately the goal. Where I would push back on the model idea is that Nikola Jokic is such a singular talent, and I understand that Domantas Sabonis is a facilitating center, but that's kind of where I think the comparison ends. Like, the Domantas Sabonis is not a singular talent in the same way Nikola Jokic is, who might be one of the 12 best players of all time, right? Like, Domantas Sabonis, fringe All-NBA guy, fringe All-Star, guy who's going to rebound the hell out of the ball, but not somebody who is going to score or really have the ball in his hands a whole lot, or nearly at the level that Nikola Jokic does late in games or late in the biggest games of the season, like the playoffs. I think if aside from the rim protection element, my biggest critique of Domantas Sabonis would be he doesn't get his own shot. Like, obviously Nikola Jokic can facilitate, but he can also hit crazy shots. He can hit pirouetting threes. He can go down to the block and go over either shoulder. And score when he needs to. His skill is just really making the best play, whether it's a pass to a teammate or scoring for himself. Domantas Sabonis in big moments just doesn't really look for his own shot. And I know people talk about his improved three-point shooting this last year. Just about all of his shots felt like they were spot-up shots that were uncontested.
They were free throws. You can say they were free throws.
Yeah, more or less.
Line,
it wasn't like Domantas Sabonis is dribbling 4 times and taking a step back fadeaway three. Like, he's got plenty of room to shoot those threes as spot-ups mostly. So, yeah, I mean, I understand your line of thinking. I just don't know that there's anybody really, and maybe the Keegan Porter Jr. thing, maybe that comparison works, but I don't really know that there are many comparisons to make between what you have on the Nuggets roster and what you have on the Kings roster.
Chris Biderman, one more for you. A lot of people are just assuming that DeMar DeRozan is gone, and I'm kind of following the same idea. Is there any chance that we're missing something and that DeMar says, no, I really like Zach LaVine and I kind of want to run it back? Is there any chance at all? Obviously, there's always a chance, right? But are we maybe underselling the fact that what if DeMar DeRozan doesn't want to leave, or, maybe the trade market, we'll see once this season's over. I'm sure there are calls being made right now under the table, but are we overselling just the fact that, hey, DeMar DeRozan will for sure be gone? Are we overselling that?
Maybe. I will say, and I'm sure I've told you this before, maybe said it elsewhere, but talking to DeMar DeRozan for a story over the wintertime, it was right before they went and played Chicago, his first game back against the Bulls after leaving. And I asked him about why it didn't work in Chicago and with Zach LaVine specifically. And he said, well, we didn't have a point guard because Lonzo Ball got hurt. And that comment really stuck to me, because obviously Zach LaVine comes to the Kings and they're rejoined as teammates, and the Kings still don't have a point guard, right, and then they're ousted in the play-in tournament. So yeah, I think there's a chance. Look, he likes being close to home. Like, coming to California, playing in California was a huge draw for him. Obviously, he's got his family in LA. And he's a super family oriented guy. And so I think if the Kings solve their point guard riddle, then yeah, there's a chance that DeMar DeRozan would still want to stick around. I just don't know that the Kings are going to be able to in a way that satisfies him, because I think where he's at his point in his career is he wants to compete for championships, or at least be on a team that looks like it could contend. And as of right now, without a point guard, the Kings don't look like that. And I don't know that getting Dennis Schroeder or Chris Paul at this stage in his career, or somebody like that, is what would change his line of thinking. And so I think that's probably the biggest question for me when it comes to DeRozan. Like, I think he would probably want to leave if the Kings don't get a capable point guard. And so that's where I think that stands.
So you think, and I think one one situation we go back and forth with is when we try to place DeMar DeRozan on a team, what team wants to pay 23, 24 million if he's not understanding that he can't do everything that he did on the Kings because that's not really winning basketball. So that has been what has confused me about his value and his market. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, like if the if the Rockets don't get Giannis or KD, right? They need a late game score. They have plenty of defense elsewhere on the court. They have, they have everything else you think you would need to contend. Maybe you plug DeMar DeRozan into the Rockets as a plan B or C if you don't get Giannis or KD. And then that's your late game closer that helps you, get to the next round of the playoffs if you're Houston. Like, I think it's a team like that. I know people talk about the Clippers. I'm just not really sure. You already have two ball dominant players with the Clippers.
Right.
I mean, people always talk about the Lakers. I don't know really how that fits unless they get rid of Austin Reeves, maybe. But I think, a team like Houston, and maybe there's some others that aren't coming to mind right now, but a team like Houston that can contend and needs some late game scoring, maybe that would make sense for DeMar DeRozan.
Chris Biderman, Sacramento Bee. Go check out all of his work at the Sacramento Bee. Also follow him on social media. He is great on X. A lot of information. Chris, every time we come on, you just raise the bar. And that's why I appreciate you, okay? Look, when we go out there, wherever we're going, on the links, because I know you're a good golfer. We've been trying to get out there, but everybody else in the media, they're too cool for school. First round's on me. How about that to celebrate?
Oh, wow.
Celebrate your marriage. Celebrate your marriage.
All
and,
right.
we'll talk in 3 years. Just don't mention free agency.
All right. I'll start looking at tee times at Pebble Beach.
Okay.
We'll get that going.
Let's get it done. I'll see you on the par 3. Chris Biderman of the Sacramento Bee. Chris, thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
The Rockets. Let's react to everything Chris Biderman had to say on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that. And third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Great stuff, as always, from Chris Biderman of the Sacramento Bee. And I will say this. I love the term that he used for Sabonis, for Domantas Sabonis. He is not a singular talent. And he did go on to say he can rebound the hell out of the ball, but he is not a singular talent. When we were comparing the different models between the Kings and the Nuggets, he said the difference is, and I've never heard this term before, I meant to ask him if he created it on his own, but the difference between Jokic being a singular talent, and we could specify and say scoring talent, but that's what we mean, a singular talent in Nikola Jokic, and Domantas Sabonis not being a singular talent. And again, that's no way to bag on Domantas Sabonis, but really the model, you can't talk about the Nuggets model and not bring up that huge difference, because that's the game breaker. Now, Kyle, I don't think you were around when NBA Street came out. I was playing that on PS2. Then Volume 2 came out. It wasn't as good, but you had the back to Papa, you had the slip and slide, you had all that. And when you would make enough moves to charge up the game breaker, then you would do some crazy move. The other team would lose about 5 points. You'd gain 10 points, and it would be game, set, match. I love to play with, I think his name was Bones. It was basically Allen Iverson, but not Allen Iverson.
But without the licensing?
It was Allen Iverson in Tim's, just like Cole Anthony, and in some jean shorts. But Jokic has the game breaker, and Domantas Sabonis does not. And not only does he not have a game breaker, you're excited when Domantas Sabonis goes for over 20 points. So as much as I still think it's the closest model, but I understand that model, I think a better way to look at this is that the Nuggets model looks maybe better than it is because of Nikola Jokic. Jamal Murray looks better than he is because of Nikola Jokic. Aaron Gordon looks better than he is because of Nikola Jokic. Michael Porter Jr. looks better than he is because of Nikola Jokic. So we can look at that model, but if you don't have Jokic, you're looking at, again, a Temu version, right? A Walmart generic version of that model. And maybe that is what the Kings were before they traded De'Aaron, and maybe a generic model of the Nuggets with no Jokic is a play-in team in the West. Maybe it's that simple.
Well, it's tough because when it was Fox and Sabonis, they won 58% of their regular season games. Again, we're talking about from the start of the Beam Team season until Malik Monk got his legs sat on by Luka.
Right.
It was 130-something game sample size where they won 58% of their regular season games, went to a Game 7 in a playoff series, and the next season they probably would have lost in the first round had they gotten to the playoffs, but they were one game away from getting to the playoffs and one Malik Monk or Kevin Huerter injury away. So sure, maybe the difference between Sabonis, who, as Chris Biderman outlined, has problems creating his own shot or creating his own offense, scoring-wise, versus Jokic, who hits the Dirk Nowitzki dad in the driveway fadeaway shots and shoots 40% on contested threes. Maybe the gap between that is being a conference finals team and a first-round exit.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't believe the gap is that significant, but there is a very real chance that the gap between Sabonis and Jokic is greater than we're giving it credit for.
So, and the text line is chiming in 916. Chris's view on Sabonis is spot on. Somebody else, when talking about ownership, 916 says, very well said. That dude, talking about ownership, of course, needs to be accountable. I just, to me, the word I'll use is funny or ironic, simply because of, there are owners out there. I think why people get a little bit frustrated is simply because you're front and center every game. And, I'm blessed enough to go to every game because of this job, but every game he's taking a picture with somebody front and center in the court, right? There's some owners that you never see. And I wouldn't expect to hear from owners that I never see. So I think that's the point of frustration with fans. We see you all the time. We see you at games. We see you saying, let's go A's, and what you're handling with the A's. We see all that. By the way, the A's lost again. Was that 7 straight? It's
7
brutal.
in a row.
It's brutal. And there was a terrible play. We'll get into it, but
currently last place.
As an outfielder, it gave me the heebie-jeebies last night with J.J. Boudet and Lawrence Butler. But we see you, but we don't hear from you. If we don't see you, then maybe, right, and I don't know who the random team is, the random NBA owner that you just never see, never hear from. And on top of that, if you're not making, number one, we see you. Number two, there's nobody else through that line, right, that would be making these decisions besides you. So number one, we see you. Number two, we know you're making decisions. If we didn't see you and you weren't making decisions, then nobody would care that we don't hear from you. But because we do see you and we do know that you're a part of these conversations, as well as family members and things like that, that is why we want to hear from you. So we're only holding you to that standard simply because it seems like you are. If you're not involved, then we don't need to hear from you.
Right. The classic example is the Holt family that owned the Spurs during all those championship runs, right? Popovich and R.C. Buford were the faces of the franchise making the decisions,
right.
But you never saw the ownership group during the time that they were winning all the championships. You don't know how involved or not involved they were, but it's just a different style of ownership.
And to be fair to that point, and we're way over time, but to be fair to that point, it was a different time, right? And it was harder to get information. When you have athletic articles coming out about who is involved in what, then yeah, you kind of need to speak to that. Back in the day, maybe they were involved in, and like you said, we'll never know. But now we do know because there's information, there's cell phones, there's a lot of different stuff going on. So you don't have to do anything, right? But it would make people that spend a lot of money, as Chris Biderman said, feel a lot better. I really like Will Z Stats, who writes for the Kings, and he writes a lot. That dude works hard for Sports Illustrated. Go check out his work, Kings on SI. But he put out a trade that even I can't get down with. We'll tell you what it is when we return. Now in South Sacktown Sports.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Father's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for dads and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Kick off summer with Memorial Day savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Plus, get up to 40% off select major appliances and save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/28. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Hey there, I'm Phil Briggs, Navy veteran and host of CBS Eye on Veterans weekly radio show and podcast. And over the years, I've loved sharing military stories with my neighbor Greg, a battle-tested former Army Ranger. He's a barbecue master and always welcomes us over. As it's Military Appreciation Month, Navy Federal Credit Union wants all active duty, veterans, and family to know that they're always eligible to join. Because at Navy Federal, our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Injured at work? Call Downtown. Downtown LA Law Group, California's leading injury law firm. With over 40 lawyers throughout California, they've won over $500 million in settlements. Downtown LA Law Group will get you compensation for your work injury. You don't pay unless they win. That's right. You pay zero up front. Call Downtown. Text Injury Help to 40222. That's Injury Help to 40222. Visit them at calldowntown.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, Sacramento. It's the No Surprise Guys at Bell Brothers Plumbing and Air Conditioning. Need a new water heater? Call Bell Brothers. Need drain or sewer work? Call Bell Brothers. Need a free plumbing estimate? Call Bell Brothers. We don't guess at plumbing and drain problems. We use advanced camera inspections and diagnostics to identify the issues. We're fast, reliable, and respect your time by showing up when we say we will. Our technicians are all background checked, drug tested, and will leave the work area cleaner than they found it. The price we quote is the price you pay. We are the No Surprise Guys. With more technicians, more trucks, and more experience. We get the job done right the first time. No surprises. Don't wait. Call Bell Brothers today for a free plumbing estimate or book online at nosurpriseguys.com. That's NoSurpriseGuys.com.
San Francisco!
What a laser from Brock Purdy, and what a catch.
San Francisco 49ers single game tickets are available now.
Intercepted by Fred Warner. Fred gets up and runs back the other way. One block and he's in. Gonna throw left for the end zone. It's caught by George Kittle.
Secure your seats at 49ers.com/tickets.
Touchdown!
'Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sacktown Sports.
$12:30, halfway through hour 3. And can I say something? This might come off as some type of way. This has bugged me for a while. And I don't know. We're about to get into Will Z stats in this trade that I really disagree with. I don't know if I'm way off base here, but I just have to say it. We're in the throes of, we're not in the throes of the summer yet, but you know, this is the off season, and I've been meaning to bring this up for a while. And I'm lucky and I'm glad that I'm not remembering to do it during crosstalk because Dave will say, oh, you're showing off or whatever. Look, I used to run. I need to get back running the way I used to run. I'm at about 2 miles now. You know, I try to go every other day. I used to be at 3. I used to be at 4. I need to get back, man. I'm this dad bod. I'm trying to power through. But this has bugged me, right? So I tell people all the time, I'm out there in Natomas, and I don't know, man. I'm an extrovert, obviously, and I understand that. You know, you got introverted extroverts, you got extroverted introverts. It gets very confusing, right? I was having this conversation a couple years ago. But it really bugs me, and maybe it's just me. If we're in the same neighborhood on the same trail, especially if we're both runners, if you're walking, I'm running, I'll give you a pass. But if we're both running, whether it's, you know, a guy, a lady, whoever it is, and we're running past each other, I can't get the universal runner's head nod or acknowledgement or smile. I don't understand it. Hey, we're all in this together, struggling, running. They'll just run right past me, some of them. And it's more often than not, I'm thinking, I know life is tough, but hey, you're trying to be healthy. I'm trying to be healthy. Can I get a nod or something? They'll just run right past me. Am I fair or foul on me being upset that I'm not getting universal running head nods and or smiles? I think it's fair. I just don't know how upset you're allowed to be with someone not saying anything to them. You know, I keep it pushing. No, but you're just venting on the radio now about this poor person who just wanted to go about their day. It's not just one. It's a lot of them. Yeah, I have this thing all the time because it's the same thing with biking. Biking is you pass by someone. Hey, what's up, biker? You're saving the environment just like me. Oh, sure, something like that. Or parents. They're pushing a stroller. We're pushing a stroller. Hey, here's the head nod. Hey, neither of us are sleeping. Yeah, you're not even asking for a conversation. No. You just want an acknowledgement. It's just, hey, you're doing a great job, because that's a head nod to me. That's me telling you you're doing a great job. Now, crossing, like you said, a biker to a runner, I don't need that. I'll take it, but I don't need that. But runner to runner, walker to walker, I can't get a head nod in the same neighborhood, Kyle. Yeah. My strategy for this is just to smile, because then at least maybe you'll get a smile from someone, or it's a little less off-putting. And some of them when I'm doing well and I'm on a good schedule, I'll see them more than once. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe the first time, whatever. So then I don't do it back to them and I still feel guilty.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is for you, Mr. Stiles.
I'm just saying, man.
I agree. I don't want to bag on people who are like, I just don't want to be bothered.
That's
and go
what I
about
want to
my
know,
business.
right? Because I know you're out there and you don't have to reveal yourself, but can somebody argue the other side? Somebody said, too tired to acknowledge from the 510, which is completely realistic. But can a non-head nodder, a non-waiver, if you're working out or if you're biking, running, walking out, whatever, can you acknowledge, since you don't do it to people, can you explain to me, hey, I don't owe you anything. I don't know you. I'm uncomfortable. Can somebody help me see the other side?
Okay, so people my age, it's definitely an uncomfortable thing. Like if someone has headphones on, that's when I'm like.
Because you just acknowledge on TikTok. You just acknowledge on TikTok. That's all you do. You're on TikTok.
I guess the universal, if you're wearing headphones, I understand that's the I don't want to be bothered.
But I'm not trying to have we're both moving.
That's the difference is if you're a runner and we're both running, you can at least say hello or just smile. I'll take a smile or a head nod or some sort of acknowledgement that I am a real person living in this world and I'm not just in a simulation of people who don't exist.
Like I said, everybody's going through it. I get it, right? Amid Rock is saying you never know what people are going through. They might have been clear in their head. As a biker, I always give a wave. If they don't wave back, I don't mind. Well, I don't mind either. I don't mind either. No. I'm just curious. And look, that's a lot of head clearing. Because like I said, my percentage, and I'm always shouting out the toe. I'm always shouting out Natomas. But the wave percentage, the head nod percentage could be better. We'll see if it gets better during the summer.
I'll say fair, but also give people the benefit of the doubt.
But also give it a rest. Give it a rest.
Sure.
All right. I hear you on that. We're going to give that convo a rest for now, and we're going to get back into this trade. Now I'm all fired up. And Will Z Stats, who does great work for Sacramento Kings on SI, he put out a trade that literally upset me. No, it actually upset me now. So he has a very nice runner. Will Z Stats, I hope you wave because now I don't like this now. So Will Z Stats put out a trade, and like I said, he's very similar to us. He's putting out content every single day. So he goes on to write, let's get uncomfortable. The Sacramento Kings need to make some extremely difficult decisions this offseason as new GM Scott Perry has a tough road ahead after inheriting an extremely imbalanced roster. One of the possible moves Perry should consider is trading fan favorite Malik Monk to help reshape and balance out the team. Okay. I get that. But here's the problem. He goes on to say Sacramento has been in desperate need of a rim protector, which is what Chris Biderman just mentioned, by the way, during our talk with him. A rim protector since they brought in Domantas Sabonis. The All-NBA center can do a lot of things on the court, but rim protection isn't one of them. In this theoretical scenario, Sabonis would slide back to the 4 spot, which may not be ideal, but in an offseason where everything is on the table, it's at least worth thinking about. Cleveland Cavaliers receive Malik Monk. Sacramento Kings receive Jared Allen. Logistically, the trade would work a straight-up swap. Monk is set to make $18.8 million. Allen is under contract for $20 million. Both players are 27. The age adjustment works. And he says, basically, the Cavs coming off an incredible season need somebody to take the pressure off of Donovan. I just think that both teams, I don't know if the Kings say no to this, actually, but I think the Cavs for sure say no to this.
Sure, that's
right?
An all-star center who was one of the 30 best players in the NBA this season. I would assume even if the quote-unquote fit made more sense, why would Cleveland trade a top 50 player in the NBA for Malik Monk?
Yeah, I don't get it. I get it, but even the fit for the Kings, to me, you're just starting to say we're slowly moving away from Domantas Sabonis, but also you're not moving away from Domantas Sabonis because Jared Allen is 27. He's not 24. So I don't like it for both sides. And yeah, I think the Cavs say, And what else?
Yeah.
You know, when you go to fast food, anything else?
Sure.
Anything else for you?
There's no way a backup shooting guard, because that's what Malik Monk would be on the Cavs.
Yeah.
There's no way a backup shooting guard is worth giving up a starting center, because there is a case to be made for the Cavs moving off of Jarrett Allen.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that's difficult about it is they need another center if they're going to move Jarrett Allen. You're essentially making the point, we just need stylistically a different center than what Jarrett Allen is bringing.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I were the Cavs, I would just try to do whatever I can to convince the Clippers to part with Zubac. I think Zubac would be perfect for what they're trying to do.
And then the Clippers would get Jarrett Allen.
Yeah, essentially. But again, I'm just throwing out the situations. Like, there's a case to be made for moving off of Jarrett Allen for the Cavs. It's just not for a backup shooting guard.
A backup, yeah. And I he's still a combo guard, but kind of barely a combo guard.
Less and less.
But like I said, shout out Will Z Stats. We're trying to get some logistic things, but we've been trying to get him on the show for a while now. Don't worry, we'll convince him. But I'm not going to hate on him because we're putting out content every single day. Things are going to come up. But the Cavs say, what else?
Sure,
what else?
With Chris Biderman, we were one step away from a DeMar DeRozan for Dylan Brooks trade.
I mean, you throw in, we're going to have to do Rockets next week.
All right.
Well, because that was one of, and if you missed it, it'll be up on YouTube if it's not already, and on the Sacktown Sports app. Chris Biderman says, don't sleep on the Houston Rockets if, very similar to the conversations we've had before, you miss out on Kevin Durant, you miss out on Giannis, whoever. Okay, DeMar DeRozan keeps us in the conversation. Here's a question, real quick. We're over time. I don't know what that deal would look like, and maybe we can cook one up as we tend to do, but I'm just double checking. Basically what I'm trying to say is if you swap out a deal that the Rockets could have done to have DeMar DeRozan, just put DeMar DeRozan on the Rockets and remove whoever, right? Maybe it's Dylan Brooks. I don't know. Do they beat the Warriors? Think about it. We'll answer it on the other side, and we continue to break down what the Kings have to do to be a part of the conversation. Also, NFL has updated their rules, and Tush Push is still here. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here reminding you to gear up for Memorial Day and summer barbecue parties at Amy's Outdoor Living, your grilling headquarters. Now, while others have raised prices, Amy's is keeping their low prices through May 26th. Weber, Traeger, Rectech, Blackstone. New Traeger Woodridge, $200 off at $6.99. The popular Weber Genesis starts at $7.99. $7.99. Rectech pellet grills, my brother's favorite, lowest price of the year. And Gosney pizza ovens, I've had mine for a year. I love it. Starts at $3.99 plus no sales tax on in-stock patio furniture through May 26th. You need umbrellas or cushions? Amy's has a great supply in many colors. Memorial Day is the perfect time to get that new barbecue grill you want. Amy's Outdoor Living in 2 locations, in Sacramento on El Camino near Watt, and in the El Dorado Town Center.
Advanced Infusion Center, where we prioritize your comfort and well-being. Whether you're managing a chronic condition or seeking specialized IV therapy, our state-of-the-art center offers tailored solutions to meet your needs. Advanced Infusion Center's dedicated healthcare professionals are here to ensure your safety and provide personalized care. Conveniently located in Sacramento and Yuba City with flexible scheduling options. Experience a new standard in infusion therapy. Visit Advanced Infusion Center today at advancedinfusion.com.
The clock is ticking, Ethan.
Hey, movie fans, get ready for the ultimate summer blockbuster at the Esquire IMAX Theater in downtown Sacramento. Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning.
I need you to trust me.
Filmed for IMAX, every mission has led to this. Feel every heart-pounding moment on Esquire IMAX's 6-story screen with thunderous audio. Grab your reserved seats now at IMAX.com/Sacramento. The Esquire IMAX Theater, the world's most immersive movie experience for Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents it's local, but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember,
For the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Whitey here for Napoleon Grills, reminding you that when buying a new grill, every detail matters. While supplies last, you'll receive a $149 gift with purchase on every new Napoleon Prestige stainless steel grill. The kit even includes a pizza lover starter kit and much more. And now up to $79 off Napoleon Rogue models. Napoleon grills are built different, built better, built to last, with a lifetime warranty and premium steel that boasts amazing quality. Visit Green Acres Nursery today for your best selection of Napoleon grills and accessories.
Louis C.K. in an all-new show, Ridiculous 2025 Tour.
When I was younger, you had to go in the bank. Remember that? You had to go inside the bank. Now you look in the bank, you're like, what are those people doing in there? Are they cleaning? The money's out here.
Friday and Saturday, June 13th and 14th, 8 p.m., the venue at Thunder Valley. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Louis C.K. live on stage.
Switch to Comcast Business Mobile and save hundreds a year on your wireless bill. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Restrictions apply. Comcast Business Internet required. Compares 2 unlimited intro lines and lowest price 5G plans of top 3 carriers. Taxes and fees extra. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabytes of usage. Data thresholds may vary.
Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
I couldn't help myself. I've already cooked it up. I've already cooked up a DeMar DeRozan trade. If they swing and miss the Rockets on Kevin Durant or just feel like they don't want to pay that. And look, they said they were out on Devin Booker. They said they want to see what Jalen Green can do. So I have already cooked up a trade. Kyle, I want to know who says yes and who says no. We have people chiming in on the waving conversation. Div said the running segment had me laughing in my car on lunch. Look, man, I'm just saying. 916 says, Alan, you're into Thomas. Weird people out there. 916, come on. Don't disrespect my people like that. They say just enjoy the nod when you get one. Get one per week and be glad. I don't know if Folsom Lake is trolling or not. Folsom Mike, he says, Folsom Bike Trail is brutal. I run experiments and wave at everyone. 5 years ago, more than 50% would wave back. I'm lucky if it's 10% now. So Folsom Mike, do you have an Excel spreadsheet? I'm going to start. That's some Allen stuff right there.
Folsom Mike's got data going back 6 years.
I like Folsom Mike because that's some Allen. That is something Allen would do.
Allen would collect data.
I am going to now. I'm going to see what the percentage is, and you get waves, you get head nods, and you get ignores, and we'll go from there. But Kyle,
the last 5 or 6 years have done a number on people,
and that's part of it.
To Folsom Mike's point, the last 5 or 6 years have been rough.
That's part of it too. Maybe we are starting the movement to bring things back to how they were. Okay, Kyle, who says no? All right. Because I'm stuck here. Go ahead.
Before we do that, I gave your question some thought before the break. I still think the Warriors beat the Rockets with DeRozan.
510 says yes. The Rockets beat the Warriors. So this is the deal.
Yes.
So we can apply this deal to what just happened and have that conversation. The Rockets receive. And we can also talk about whether or not the Rockets would do it in this offseason. The Rockets receive DeMar DeRozan, 2 second-round picks.
Okay.
And this works in Fanspo. The Rockets receive DeMar DeRozan, 2 second-round picks. The Kings receive Dylan Brooks and Cam Whitmore.
Okay. I think you're selling the Kings a little short, honestly.
Well, you could throw the Holiday in there for a point guard, too, if that money still works.
Sure. I mean, Kings probably don't need to trade those maybe just 1 second round pick.
Hey, I'll take that.
Honestly, it's not. The Kings are probably coming out worse off in that trade, but it's tough because they only have 1 year left on DeRozan, and they're trying to facilitate a place that DeRozan wants to go to, and the team wants DeRozan. So I get there's a chance they're not going to get a perfect deal out of this, but yeah, you could just get a project, Cam Whitmore, see if something comes of it.
That's what I'm saying. He was a hot name, and he was the guy that everyone said that other teams missed on, and then he just didn't play.
Yeah, and Dylan the Villain's a plug-and-play 3. Obviously, he's not as good as DeRozan. He'd be better at sitting in the corner and shooting threes than DeRozan, but that's making the case that Keegan Murray is now going to be your number 2 or 3 in the offense.
And that's what I'm saying. I looked, and really and that's just a conversation for where the Rockets are, but if somebody's saying, Allen, go get a point guard, I agree with you, but they ain't going to move Reed Shepherd, I don't think.
Well, not for DeRozan.
No. Or do you give us Reed Shepherd, he's 20 years old, and do you do a protected first?
I would just take Whitmore and have a couple years to figure it out. Because, maybe Cam Whitmore won't be anything, but it's a low cost 2 years to see if he can blossom. Cam Whitmore is essentially like a late first-round pick in this sense. He was picked 20th in the draft. He's never been able to find the rotation.
And can I just say, Aaron Holiday is the only other point guard. They only have 3 listed point guards: Fred VanVleet, Reed Shepherd, and Aaron Holiday. Maybe some guys are gone now because Fanspo will update it when the season ends. I don't think so off the top of my head, just from watching the games. I don't know who else was handling the basketball besides Jalen Green. So can I just say, I know first seasons are really tough on people, but if you're looking at Reed Shepherd and you're thinking Fred VanVleet feels like he missed half the damn season, and Aaron Holiday is Aaron Holiday, and Reed Shepherd couldn't get no time.
By the way, it's a club option for Aaron Holiday too, so there's a chance they could just say
it's an option. It's a club option for Cam Whitmore too.
Yeah, but that's the standard first-round pick, like third-year option, fourth. This is the Jake LaRavia situation. It's they can accept his third-year option or his fourth-year option situation. Holiday's fine. I mean, it's $4.9 million for a backup point guard. They still would need a point guard.
Exactly. Reed is you're taking a swing on, could this guy be our starter? Anybody else, and that's what I'm saying, I'd rather go in this situation, just go get Dennis Schroeder, and let's see if Cam Whitmore can make it pop.
Or to bring it back to our segment earlier, which, by the way, you can check out, sacktownsports.com, you can still put Cole Anthony into the trade exception if you want, and then say, like, hey, we're going to take those draft picks that we're not sending to Houston and just give them to Orlando for Cole Anthony.
Kyle, breaking news banner. Let's get it.
When it breaks,
we have it first.
It's Sacktown Sports breaking news.
1 minute ago, Shams Charania, of course, breaking. Oklahoma City Thunder star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has won the NBA MVP award, sources tell ESPN. He gets it done. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has definitely earned it. Obviously, we can have conversations about Jokic, but both of them crazy seasons. Shai averaged 32.7 points per game, 5 rebounds, 6.4 assists on 51.9% shooting, 37.5% from 3. He could still become a better three-point shooter and just shoot it more often as well. 89.8% from free throw. Man, he might have, if he was a Steph Curry free throw shooter, he might have averaged 35.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is the other crazy part about Shai, not necessarily with the free throws, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, despite putting up, what was the number you said for his points?
He put up, 32.7.
Yeah, and they showed he's like the second player ever to average 30 and shoot 50% from the field in 3 straight seasons, and it's him and Michael Jordan. He sat at least 8 minutes or more in the fourth quarter of 24 games this season.
Yeah.
Despite the fact he basically didn't play in fourth quarters, he put up 32.5 points per game. This guy had an incredible season, and obviously Jokic did as well. Shai,
to that point, they were in close games. It felt like every single game for the Nuggets, they were in close games. So to that point, Jokic and his fourth quarter points. Now you can make the argument, well, they need him. We're not going to make that argument today. Congrats to Shai.
Yeah, that was the thing that put me over the edge with Shai. And we knew Shai was going to win it just because of the people who had leaked their votes were pretty much all voting for Shai. But the fact that this guy was not playing in fourth quarters because Oklahoma City was just blowing out every team in the league.
Yeah.
And he still managed to put up those insane totals this year and those insane averages. Yeah, like we said earlier, he is, if Kobe Bryant were born in 1996, this is what Kobe Bryant would look like. That's what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is.
Right. And the idea, the mid-range conversation that we had earlier this week, the mid-range, and nobody is calling Shai Kobe right now. It's just, again, it's the same conversation with the models, right? And earlier in the show, at the top of the show, we discussed how Shai doesn't do it for me because he's not mythical and or not relatable to me. And we basically said that Kobe, even though he was 6'6", and most people are not that, and hyper athletic, he became relatable because he mirrored everything around MJ, which a lot of kids did. So that made him more relatable, and you got to see his story. Shai doesn't have that background, and he's just going to have to win in order to become relatable, because everybody loves a winner.
Yes.
That's at the end of the day. And the way they play is similar.
He's now eclipsed the entry point of being a face of the league guy, which is you have to be one of the two best players in the league to be a face of the league, without question. So now that he is firmly planted himself in that camp, I think I said earlier, I think it's going to be like he's going to need like 3 or 4 MVP/championships combined, because we'll still make you the face of the league if you win 3 MVPs and no championships.
Right.
He's just going to have to be continuously excellent.
Oklahoma City Thunder star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has won the NBA MVP. Again, got him in the trade. Nobody thought he'd be this. Who else is out there that could be more than what they're projected to be right now? Also in the 1 o'clock hour, the Tush Push is alive and well thanks to Jason Kelsey. Other rules and new rules coming out of the NFL meetings. And Brock Purdy asked for what? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Lowe's knows how to bring the heat with Memorial Day savings. Right now, select paint, primer, and stains, or buy one, get one 50% off via Visa gift card rebate. Plus, get 2 select 1.5-gallon annuals hanging baskets for just $20. Shop these Memorial Day deals before they're gone. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/28. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Annuals offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's.
Participating U.S. Wendy's. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC. Used with permission.
Carmichael Dave here for my good friends at American Energy. As a native Sacramentan, I can tell you, not that you need to know, that it might be nice right now, but turn the corner. Oh my God, it's so hot. Yeah, summer is coming. And my friends at American Energy want to make sure you are dialed with your AC unit. So how about this half off tune-up right now? It's a special going on, just $24.50 to get your air conditioner tuned up. A free diagnostic. And oh, by the way, if you need a new AC unit, up to $3,500 in rebates on qualifying system installations. That's right. They've been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Give them a call, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Here's the song.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9861. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9861. That's 800-575-9861. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Memorial Day is the unofficial beginning of summer and a time to reflect on the blessings we enjoy living in this country. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. At Naturewood's Memorial Day sale, you choose the offer. It's like 2 sales in one. Take 10% off regular prices or get 24 months of no-interest financing with payments on approved credit. Then you can choose from living rooms, sofas, sectionals, dining rooms, bedrooms, home offices, and so much more. Whether you're looking to lighten the mood in your living room, brighten up your bedroom, or tighten up your home office, you can shop and save big on the best selection of quality furniture, including Sacramento's largest selection of furniture made in the USA. Shop the area's best selection of quality furniture at Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for that water wheel.
Memorial Day savings explode at Maida's Elk Grove Chevy. Save $12,500 off MSRP after rebates. Every new 2025 Silverado Turbo Max in stock. And Maida Chevy has similar savings on every new Silverado. One of the largest selections of new Silverado in the Sacramento area. $12,500 off new Silverado. Exclusively at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. Now that's big. Huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Less than 21 remaining. Not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Hammer time thrown down by the league. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
One o'clock on the dot, taking you up to 2 p.m. Before we went to break, it was announced that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander named NBA MVP, sources tell ESPN. Those from Shams. First MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led the number 1 seed Thunder to a league-high 68 wins and became the second player in NBA history to average at least 30 points on 50% shooting, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.5 steals, and 1 block per game, along with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan did it twice, in 88 and in 91. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was the 11th overall pick. Going back to these drafts, right? Not only was he 11th overall pick, he was also traded. And I wouldn't call him, he wasn't a throwaway in the Paul George deal, but if the Clippers knew he would be this, they wouldn't have traded him. So, I know the Kings don't have a first-round pick this go round, or at least not right now, but it does go to show we spent all this time and, the lottery this, the lottery that. How much of that is luck? How much of that is the Oklahoma City saying, no, we need this guy because we know he's going to be an MVP? I'm not saying that. But if you do things the right way, even if you don't get the number 1 pick, you can still figure things out. It's all about doing things the right way. And now you look at it and you think, it's so funny how this stuff starts to happen, right? You have a good season. Oh, that's a good season from so-and-so. You have another good season. Oh, that dude's pretty good. I think he's going to have a nice career here. You have your breakout season. Okay. All right. He's starting to figure some things out. Then you do it again. All right. Is this guy going to be a dude? And then you do, right? And we just watched all of this happen. Let's go through Shai Gilgeous-Alexander let's go through his rise. So he was 6th in Rookie of the Year voting. That was when he was 20. That was his only season on the Clippers, all right? Then he gets to OKC, and it happened pretty quick, right? OKC, 2019, 2020? Is that what was Chris Paul there yet?
Yes, that was the one Chris Paul season with Lou Dort and Shai and just a bunch of guys.
And don't get it twisted. He played 82 games with the Clippers, right? This wasn't a random rookie season. He started in 73. He played in 82. In 2020, he played 70 games. He averaged 19 points. So now we're at the point where, second-year guy averaging 19. Okay, cool. Oklahoma City, they're not really doing much.
They were surprising. They got the 5 seed, even though everyone thought they were going to be bad.
Right. Next season, 23.7 points per game. Man, okay, you got to you've crossed that 20 point per game threshold. And,
sure, but they lost 60 games, so it doesn't mean anything.
But they stink, and he's Trey Murphy at this point. He's Trey Murphy, right? He's a chucker, right? That's at age 22. Age 23, he plays in 56 games, and he averages 24.5 points per game. Hey, he only played in 56 games. What's going on here? Then something happens. Then the breakout happens. 2022-2023, his first All-Star, 5th in MVP voting, 31.4 points per game. OKC bursts on the stage, and you're thinking, is that just a random one-off from SGA?
I also remember that season. They didn't make the playoffs that year. They lost in the play-in tournament. But I remember that year, OKC was so bad that everyone was like, how can you put first-team All-NBA on a non-playoff team? And I remember it was like a victory for League Pass people that Shai got first-team All-NBA, because it's like, no, you don't get it. If this team had any competent player, they would have been in the playoffs. He's just carrying them to the 10 seed.
Next season, drops a little bit as far as points are concerned, but the team starts to figure it out, and that was essentially last season as they were the 1 seed. Now you have the breakout season, then you have the sustained breakout, and he's second in MVP voting. Obviously, they don't get as far. What they lose in the second round, they don't get as far as they wanted to, but he still is above that 30 point per game range, 6 assists per game. His assists go up from the season before, and he can rebound the basketball. He's got good size on him, and he defends at a high level as well. He averaged 2 steals per game right there, so he's doing it on both ends. And then this season comes around, and you think, okay, either this dude is having just the craziest 3-year stretch we've ever seen, or he's going to go down as a great. We don't know about all-time great, but right now, he's that dude at 32.7 points per game, the highest of his career, 6.4 assists per game, the highest of his career, still staying steady at that 5 rebounds per game, and he's sitting at 1.7 steals per game as well, putting up numbers that we've only seen Michael Jordan put up in his MVP seasons as well. So that's just what it is with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We just saw the whole thing happen. It took him 7 years. It took him 7 years to show up on the scene as a current great. We'll say it like that. He is a current great as of right now. He is a top, obviously number 1 if you rock like that, because he's MVP. He's the best player in the NBA this past season. He's top 3 if you're going to argue some of the guys, the Giannis's of the world, but he's at worst top 3. It took him 7 seasons. So not everybody's going to have that path, but now you have a lot of people. He's 26 years old. Now you have a lot of people trying to figure out, okay, how can we find the next version of that? And I don't know if it's out here, but to me, when I look at this as the 11th overall pick, it reminds me of the Giannis type of situation. Right, obviously not exactly the same trajectory, but it reminds me of, oh, this kid is pretty good. Where's he from? Greece? Oh, he's bigger now. Oh, he's scoring the basketball at a high level. Oh, he's still doing it. Oh, the team is winning and he's doing it. Okay, now we can admit that he's one of the best. Some guys are on that trajectory, and Kyle's gonna maybe take this as a shot, but some guys are on that trajectory, and then things get a little bit wonky. You know who else was on this trajectory and didn't get there? Devin Booker. Devin Booker was on this trajectory, and Devin Booker, I think, was he in the double digits, or he was a later, not later
13.
pick? Yeah, he was 13. So he's a double-digit pick, and you're thinking, oh, what's going on here? Obviously, the Suns have some confusing situations, and it kind of froze. So even if you, and it doesn't have to be Shai, you can still get years from your guy, right, and still feel like, hey, this was a success. Everybody would say that Devin Booker was a success, more than a success on the Suns. So I don't know that the Kings or anybody should be looking for the next Shai, because I don't know how often the Shais come around. It's not as random as the Jokic's, and I don't know. Like I said, I think it's closer to a Giannis situation than a Jokic. Jokic is just one of one. Nobody can try to replicate that and finding that. But you could try to find somebody that might be a Shai type of trajectory, even if they're not Shai.
Yeah, and I mean, if we're just doing the quick math, I'm thinking of MVPs of the last like 3 generations, right? So we're going back 15, 20 years. A lot of them were top picks, but in recent years, you've kind of seen the trend buck a little bit, where it's like Giannis was the 15th pick in the draft. Jokic was the 41st pick in the draft. Now you have Shai, who was the 11th pick in the draft, and you actually have a vision and a development of what that player could be, and you have the resources and vision to execute it, and coaches that put them in a position to succeed. And you look at the runway that some of these players have gotten, and I think having that vision of how a player can change the game is now a just as effective a strategy as winning the lottery. Because like back in the day, it was like, okay, Tim Duncan was the number 1 pick. LeBron James was the number 1 pick. Like all these players, Dirk Nowitzki was a top 7 pick. It's like all of these stars were players who were picked at the top of their draft. But now you kind of have a little bit of versatility and also a longer runway to get players to that MVP. I mean, Shai is 25 going on 26, and that's kind of middle of the pack when it comes to like when players win their first MVP.
Shai is now eligible for one of the craziest numbers. And I just keep thinking, honestly, about what's going to happen with Wemby. But before we get there, look, man, I hope it's payday for some of you on Friday, because we all need it. And once I read these numbers to you on the other side, you're probably going to want to go get a side gig. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
If you love golf but don't want to play the same 18 holes over and over, at Timber Creek and Sierra Pines, you get 27 holes of variety, so every round feels fresh. And with a Premier Club membership, you'll enjoy unlimited golf with a cart, unlimited range use, exclusive discounts, and 2 complimentary guest passes to share the experience. With pristine conditions, a scenic layout, and an award-winning reputation, Timber Creek and Sierra Pines is Sacramento's #1 rated golf destination. Stop waiting. Become a Premier Club member today at timbercreekgc.com.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Shai up the left side to the baseline on McDaniels. Floats it up, counts if it goes, and it goes! Falling down, Shai lost it home. McDaniels trips him up, and one coming for the MVP. Listen to the crowd.
You're home for Kings Talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
This is from our guy, Bobby Marks. This is what he had to say. Bobby Marks says Shai Gilgeous-Alexander met the Supermax criteria last offseason, but was ineligible to sign because he was short of the years of service criteria. He is eligible this offseason to sign a 4-year, $293 million extension with OKC. But this is where it gets better. Because he won MVP, and this would have applied to being named All-NBA, he is now eligible to sign a 5-year, $380 million extension that would have to wait until the 2026 offseason. So that's $76 million a year. This is what we're doing now.
And he deserves it because for the next, you want to know what his contract is for before he gets that extension? $35 million, $38 million, $40 million. They are getting a bargain on the MVP of the league, and then they're going to have to pay him. What was it? 350?
At $380
million.
Yeah. And look, I know a lot of times it goes without saying, but this is a sports show. This is monopoly money. This is all relatively speaking. Nobody is, when Kyle says deserves it, this is all relative to the league, right? Anybody that thinks that these guys shouldn't be making that much money, hey, you're entitled to that opinion. This is all relative to pro sports and specifically the NBA. So I trust me, because I feel broke right now. Super broke. But this is what it is. Get on that, go home, tell your kid, tell him go out there, get back on that driveway, dribble that damn basketball. Go on. That's what I'm saying. But look, man, Baby Styles, she holds a glove right now. I make her hold a glove for at least 20 minutes a day. I'm kidding. But she does pick it up quite often.
Good.
Because it is what it is. Hey, you can hate on it or try to be a part of it. That's all I know.
Yeah, but
a lot of damn money.
I also went on Shai's Wikipedia, though, and it's like mother was a track star, father played high school basketball at a high level.
And that goes back to the whole conversation of mythical or relatable. And I grew up middle class, right, in the 90s. I was born in 90. I grew up in the 90s, 2000s, and I did not struggle, but I feel like everybody can relate to a story of struggling, because even if you're middle class, I mean, you're not struggling, but it's not as if money is still a thing, right? It's just the tougher you have it, the more of a thing money is. And I don't know what type of upbringing, like I said, I know they weren't getting this type of money when his pops was playing, but going back to it, I don't know anything about Shai. I didn't know his mom even ran track. I knew his dad played in the NBA, but he's about to enter a new world.
No, his mom went to Olympic trials in 1992.
You know what? I think I did know that from the Netflix. What is it? Court of Gold. I think I did hear that.
Anyways, while I don't feel comfortable kind of putting a blanket statement over it, I just feel like relatability through struggle or your childhood is not necessarily. I just think the bar for relatability is lower than that, right? If we use Giannis as an example, Giannis, I don't want to glorify suffering, but Giannis went through a really awful childhood in Greece, truly, truly awful levels of poverty where they're not eating food at times. And that is not relatable to the people who are watching NBA basketball. At least I hope most of them are not going through that.
Right.
But at the same time, Giannis became relatable because it's oh, look at him drinking smoothies and liking Oreos and little things like that, right? I think the bar for relatability
and maybe relatable isn't the right word, right? It is in some aspects, and that's why I said relatable / underdog. Right. That's a great story that this guy overcame something. That's why ESPN always gets roasted when they have those crazy stories that are unnecessary at the NFL draft.
Yeah. The Brian Thomas. Where's this family come from?
Yes. That's why that conversation happens. I'm just saying he doesn't have any of those things right now. So he just has to win. Because look at Steph. His pops played in the NBA. Steph ended up being, and I'm air quoting for those listening in the car, undersized, had to go to Davidson, and overcame that. So it's just a story. How about this? We just need a good story.
But isn't that on the collective we as people covering basketball to actually care about, one, both Shai, and two, Oklahoma City?
But I'm talking about those who it's not their job. I'm talking about when you become, and I always use, does my mother know who you are? Because my mother doesn't follow basketball unless she's up here watching Baby Styles. Does my mother know who you are? And we'll have on the playoffs, Giannis pops up on the screen. Oh, I know who he is. She couldn't say it by. Is that the freak, the Greek freak? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. I think that the NBA and NBA media, I think that they're doing their job. You know, they're going back and forth on the foul baiting, but I think they're doing their job as far as loving on Shai and what he's doing. There's things that they can't do. They can't continue to tell you, no, this guy's really good. This guy's really good. You just have to feel it. Jalen Brunson, his pops played, right? He's a coach in the NBA. I don't think Jalen Brunson struggled, and he went to Villanova, probably on a full ride. Don't get me started on Villanova. But Jalen Brunson, slightly undersized. Stephen A., Becky Hammond, he's not good enough. Nobody on that championship team is going to do anything in the NBA. So now he has a story that has nothing to do with struggling. So it doesn't have to be struggling. It's just Shai has no story.
But
besides getting traded.
Jalen Brunson's also relatable in the sense of like, that guy's short and he does amazing things. But
agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, people are always going to love the short kings that are balling.
Well, they love him in that regard.
Sure. And this is the thing that, you know, you talked about the relatability of it. I think this is going to happen for Shai in the next year or two. I think, to your point, usually we have the buildup of those people, but I think for so many years, and I know I made this mistake too, because we just didn't really see Shai coming like this. People did it with Ja Morant. People did it with Luka. Yeah. They did it with Zion Williamson. Like the people that we saw coming, Anthony Edwards, the ones that we saw the rise coming, we spent years building that narrative arc up of those people. And then all of a sudden it was this Canadian point guard who was playing in a city no one cares about for a team that was tanking for most of the last 4 years before the last two. Mm-hmm. That's the guy who ends up being the best out of all of them. I think there's kind of a reaction people have to catch up to because you mentioned the thing with your mother, right? If I gave you the names Russell Westbrook, James Harden, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Jokic, Giannis, those are names that basketball fans know. And now SGA's in that group because those are all the people who have won MVP in the last 10 years.
And to that point, it's also longevity, right? If my mom, who's been coming over for years now, always sees this dude playing, right, whether it be a primetime game or the playoffs, right, then because the only other time it would probably be on is if there was nothing else, if the Kings weren't playing, right? So just carry with me now. Then it's now it turns into, well, who is that guy? I see that guy everywhere. He's in more commercials. Is he the one with that stupid commercial with what a pro wants? And then it starts to happen. So he's not there yet, but he is on the right path with his first MVP.
Yeah. And he basically had a 2-year rise. Like I mentioned earlier, in 2023, he was an all-NBA first teamer, but that was one of those years where it was like League Pass people knew how awesome Shai was, but the Thunder didn't make the playoffs in 2023. This has basically been a 2-year rise to becoming the best player in the NBA versus Luka's had like a 7-year runway of people ready to anoint him. And Jason Tatum's been in playoff games for 8 years. And Anthony Edwards has been in playoff games for 4 or 5 years. And Anthony Edwards did the Team USA thing. And that was everyone's introduction to him. Shai, it's all happened very fast. I think everyone kind of has to do the correction of like, oh no, this is the best player in the NBA. He is in his prime and he is about to lead Oklahoma City to the championship.
On the other side, Brock Purdy asked for what? Also, what are the rules that made it and didn't make it out of the NFL meetings? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by San Francisco 49ers.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center for your Wednesday. We're staring at the sunshine and feeling the heat. Temperatures will peak today in the mid-90s and then drop back nicely as the Delta breeze returns overnight tonight. That'll ensure low 50s first thing Thursday morning. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
San Francisco 49ers 2025 single game tickets are now on sale. Join the faithful at Levi Stadium. Secure your seats today at 49ers.com/tickets. That's 49ers.com/tickets.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers. T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Chargers sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Whitey here for Napoleon Grills, reminding you that when buying a new grill, every detail matters. While supplies last, you'll receive a $149 gift with purchase on every new Napoleon Prestige stainless steel grill. The kit even includes a pizza lover starter kit and much more. And now up to $79 off Napoleon Rogue models. Napoleon grills are built different, built better, built to last with a lifetime warranty and premium steel that boasts amazing quality. Visit Green Acres Nursery today for your best selection of Napoleon grills and accessories.
The Memorial Day Race to Savings is on. Get the best deals of the season at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? During the Memorial Day Race to Savings, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
A couple of, rule changes and non-rule changes that are coming out of the NFL meetings. And waking up to seeing Diana Rossini say, it looks like the tush push is going to be banned, and then seeing Adam Schefter say, Jason Kelce has arrived and the meeting is underway. And I'm driving at this point, drive in, and once I arrive, I find out that Jason Kelce swayed everyone or enough people, and the tush push lives.
The tush push was saved
by Jason Kelce, who does not work for the NFL.
No, he was an expert brought in to give.
What did he say? There was a camera in there, right?
There was a camera in the NFL owners meeting.
Hey man, content is content.
There is no
content
way.
is content.
There's no way. Though you're saying a collection of some of the richest people in the world are going to allow a video camera in on their meeting?
Just saying content is content, Kyle. All right, that's all I'm saying. Here are the rule changes and changes that didn't happen. As we said, tush push is here to stay until they try to get it out the paint again. This is how it all broke down. So these are the haters. And by the way, this was all pushed, no pun intended, by the Packers, no pun intended. NFL needed 24 votes to ban the tushy pushy, but only got 22. Here are the 10 teams that voted against the tush push ban. So they were for the tush push.
Yes, keeping it.
The Eagles, of course. And I'm just thinking about the quarterbacks that they have. The Eagles, of course. The Ravens. I don't know if I've seen Lamar tush pushy.
No.
Not that often. The Browns, I don't know. Sure. Why not? Lions, I think I've seen Jared Goff, hybrid tush push.
They should if they don't.
Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, bigger guy, tush push. Dolphins, we don't know if Tua's going to be. We don't know what. It's not going to be Tua. You're not tush pushing with Tua.
No, but Jason Kelsey's impassioned speech swayed them.
The Patriots, Drake May could definitely tush push. That's a big boy.
Sure.
That's a big boy.
So these are people who wanted to keep
the push.
See, that's interesting that the AFC East teams are keeping the tush push because Josh Allen runs it a lot.
And wait till I finish the list. Saints, Spencer Rattler, get him on in there.
Do you think Spencer
Tyler
Shaw or Jake Haener?
Yeah. Another team, the Jets. You're saying because of Josh Allen.
That's why I'm saying it's weird that they all voted to keep it since Josh Allen runs it all the time.
Except for the Bills. The Bills are not on this list.
Oh, so the Bills wanted to ban the tush push.
And the last name, the Titans, who cares? So these are the teams that wanted to keep the tush push. Eagles, Ravens, Browns, Lions, Jaguars, Dolphins, Patriots, Saints, Jets, Titans. So the only AFC East team that voted to ban the tush push is the only team in the AFC East that uses the tush push. Make that make sense.
Sure. I don't understand.
And it was close.
No, they only needed 2 votes.
Right. So it's not like the Bills were just messing around.
They were all just so impassioned by Jason Kelsey.
I need video. I don't even want look, I don't want to watch his show in the middle of Philly, the Philadelphia train station, but I'll watch this. You'll watch, I think he also has a late night show on ESPN Plus. No, that's the show. I saw it on normal TV.
Oh.
He's in a Philadelphia train station with a live studio audience. And the last time it just happened to come on, it was late night, and Joe Buck was there with his wife. And I turned it. I said, I can't.
Does anyone watch that?
That's why they're going to have to release this tape. Release the tape of Jason Kelsey's speech.
Jason Kelsey saving the tush push. I guess the thing I'm stuck on is, well, first of all, they're not going to let the camera in because of all the awful things those owners are saying in that meeting.
Right.
But 2, if you have the video for just the Jason Kelsey part,
you got to release.
Does someone stand up in the room? Like, does he get a round of applause afterwards? Like,
tush, push, tush, push. And who was it that was on the fence that he swayed? Or did he sway was it already cooked?
I don't know. Diana seemed pretty confident it was gonna get blocked.
I gotta check her profile, see if she walked it back at all.
I guess we made the joke earlier. Cleveland, I guess, is like we were so swayed. I don't know exactly how it works. The one that I thought was interesting, too, going away from the tush push for a second while you scroll Diana Rossini's Twitter, the one I thought was interesting is that now you can do an onside kick whenever you want, but you still have to declare it. So, like, there's no surprise onside kicks.
Yes.
But you can it used to be, like, only in the fourth quarter if you're losing. And now it's, like, any time in the game if you're losing, which is fine. I just thought we were going to try and do the one play 4th and 15 to try and convert a onside kick. I say kick in air quotes, like do the onside 4th and 15 thing at some point, but I guess we're just not there yet.
Diana Rossini, she tweets a lot, but that she went into it. And I'm trying to find when she initially, or you know what? It was from Underdog, I don't know that I ever saw it on her page that it was cooked, but Underdog or somebody essentially said, yeah, this thing is cooked. And then the tush push was saved by Jason Kelsey. Kyle, the wallets of the York family and some other SF local family wallets were saved by just the market, as it is now coming out from Adam Schefter that Brock Purdy asked for a lot of money. And I just think it's funny because we've argued with so many people about Brock is not going to take all the money. He's a nice guy and he loves God and all this stuff. Well, you can love God and want your paper too. Here's Adam Schefter.
I think there's a lot of ways to come to this number, and a lot of ways that they did come to this number. There were multiple meetings between the two sides, and I think Brock Purdy's initial asking price was north of $60 million, and he was not going to get $60 million. He was not going to become the highest paid quarterback in football. It didn't fit into the 49ers salary structure. And I think also there was the idea that, at one point in time, like, oh, well, maybe the 49ers would have listened for Brock Purdy trade offers. There were no trade offers that came in. There were no teams that really expressed interest. And Brock Purdy's perfect for them, and he's perfect for them. Like, they're perfect for him, he's perfect for them. It just works. It's the way it should be. His value is greatest on that team. Mm-hmm. And that's a little bit why they didn't view him right now as this $60+ million quarterback. His initial ask price, I believe, was about $65 million. So it came down to $53 million in the end, and that's a fair number. It places him in the top tier of quarterbacks, not the richest, not the worst. He finally gets paid. He's making more per game than I think he made in his entire rookie contract now.
That was Adam Schefter. $65 million. Now, I guess the argument to and I don't know if we're trying to walk it back or not, but maybe it would have been, hey, Brock, we're not giving you that, but we'll give you more guaranteed money. That's probably how they got there. But Brock Purdy, that's what I'm saying. And Whitey's in the back now, and Whitey and I will have conversations about contracts and whatnot. But I'm saying, look, if Brock Purdy asks for $65 million, I'm gonna have to go on in there and don't let Drapes hear that Brock was asking for $65 million, because that is a insane number.
It would have been Josh Allen money.
That's more than Josh Allen money, no?
I think Josh Allen's right about at that number. Let's see.
That's crazy. So I'm not hating on Brock for asking for it. You got to ask for it. Anybody that's about to go in, and look, now if you have the type of sway.
So Dak Prescott 60 is the most.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, when you said 65, I'm thinking, who the hell has over 60? Because everybody said Dak was a bad contract. Do you think Brock and his camp really think that he's worth $65 million, or it was a tactic? Because that's not a great. If I ask for, and we can go back to normal life too. If I ask for 65 and I get 53, feels like I lost, no?
I think Matt Chapman just hit a home run for the Giants.
There you go.
Yeah, I got to switch that on for you. I think that the $65 million number is essentially saying that's what the market will be in a year. Mm-hmm. And it's not, no one's available this offseason unless Mahomes comes back with Kansas City and they do an extension, which I think will probably be next year, that Mahomes gets like the contract that's like $60-70 million or whatever. But I guess you're making the old point of the NFL, which was, hey, the next guy to sign a contract just gets more than whatever the last guy did. And that's kind of evened out now that all the quarterback contracts have gotten so exorbitant.
That's crazy, though.
No,
65.
he was never going to get that.
So what is Josh Allen at?
Josh Allen's average annual value is 55, but he has more total guarantees than Dak. So his is less total value, but more guaranteed.
So Brock, this is what it sounds like to me. Brock went in there and said, look, man, I'm putting it on the table. This is what I need. And the Niners said, this is what you're going to get. And he said, all right, cool. Maybe it was to protect himself from some of, and look, we spoke about it yesterday. Whitey and I did that. Baker Mayfield is it's a bargain for the Bucs. But maybe he was saying, I'm going to go so crazy to make them think that I truly think I'm worth this contract, just to make sure we stay away from any type of lowballing Baker Mayfield conversations. That's the only way I see this as a win for Brock. Asking for $65 million and getting 53.
I don't remember if it was you who sent me it, but I was reading the Albert Breer story about how the contract came to be. Mm-hmm. And it was basically like the Niners kind of said from the beginning, hey, we're going to get a deal done. but it's not going to be a record-setting type of contract. Like, that was the first thing they kind of laid out right there. So maybe the idea was, I'm going into this meeting, his agent, with the hope of it being 60, 65, and then they kind of made it clear. It's like, hey, we're not doing that.
Or they said, go get it. Go get it. You think you're worth $65 million, Brock? Go get it somewhere.
And that was kind of the interesting note that Schefter made, is there were no trade offers, which tells me it never got to the point where both sides were like, well, all right, if we're at an impasse, let's see what we can find.
We did hear that some of that was happening, but clearly it wasn't, I'm sticking at 53 and I'm sticking at 65. Clearly that 65, the Niners called Brock's bluff. That's what I'm getting out of this.
Sure, and 53 could have been 50. I mean, Jalen Hurts got an average of 51 per year. And again, he has slightly more guarantees. We talked about it.
Brock does.
Yeah, Brock does. We talked about it on Monday, how if you take out the Trevor Lawrence contract, which is its own thing, and you take out what Cleveland did with Watson,
right?
The only quarterbacks that have more in total guarantees are Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and Lamar Jackson. And you might think Brock is better than a couple of those quarterbacks, but you're not going to have an argument like Brock absolutely should have had more guarantees than all of those people, right?
Yeah.
There's no egregious one, again, other than Trevor Lawrence, which is its own thing, that stands out like, oh, Brock just absolutely got screwed in this negotiation. He beat out all of the second-tier quarterbacks when it came to guaranteed money.
One more segment with you. Whitey Gleason joins us to close out the show. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Well, we know it's still fairly early, but in a poll conducted by MLB.com, A's shortstop Jacob Wilson was the runaway leader for American League Rookie of the Year. And why not? He leads AL rookies in virtually every important offensive category. The last A's Rookie of the Year? Andrew Bailey back in 2009.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. It's how retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And it's how healthcare offices become data-managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Hi, Sacramento. It's the No Surprise guys at Bell Brothers Plumbing and Air Conditioning. Need a new water heater? Call Bell Brothers. Need drain or sewer work? Call Bell Brothers. Need a free plumbing estimate? Call Bell Brothers. We don't guess at plumbing and drain problems. We use advanced camera inspections and diagnostics to identify the issues. We're fast, reliable, and respect your time by showing up when we say we will. Our technicians are all background checked, drug tested, and will leave the work area cleaner than they found it. The price we quote is the price you pay. We are the No Surprise guys. With more technicians, more trucks, and more experience. We get the job done right the first time. No surprises. Don't wait. Call Bell Brothers today for a free plumbing estimate or book online at nosurpriseguys.com. That's nosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-902-5454. 800-902-5454.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number Everything Smart Bed sale. Every smart bed and base are on sale during our Memorial Day event. Up to 50% off, plus free home delivery. Limited time. Exclusively to Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
San Francisco!
What a laser from Brock Purdy, and what a catch.
San Francisco 49ers single game tickets are available now.
Intercepted by Fred Warner. Fred gets up and runs back the other way. One block and he's in. Gonna throw left for the end zone. It's caught by George Kittle.
Secure your seats at 49ers.com/tickets.
Touchdown!
At Power Business Technology, we're not another big box corporation. We're your neighbors, locally owned and operated. We know what businesses like yours need, from reliable printers to high-performance copiers. We'll help you find the right solution with personal service you just can't get online. Need setup or support? We're just down the road and always happy to help. Power Business Technology, family hometown service with big-time solutions. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729 or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles.
On Sacktown Sports.
You know, Sting has been at the Garden. Do you know this song originally was about basketball? Every shot you make. Yeah, did you? Okay.
I did know that.
Sting, big basketball fan. Stingle.
I found it, Kyle. It was Underdog NFL at 5:16 this morning said, per Rossini, rule proposal to ban Tush Push likely to pass. I didn't see it on her social media because she was tweeting a lot today. But yeah, obviously, once Jason Kelce arrived, everything changed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, when I was going through her timeline, was the Eagles were worried, blah, 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 blah. Am I underselling how important the Tush Push is to the Eagles? The way it was kind of written was, man, if they don't, what are we saying? The Eagles can't win a Super Bowl if they ban the Tush Push?
Well, they're very successful at it. Didn't it carry just by like 2 votes?
Yeah, they needed 24. They got 22.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's time for every other team in the league to start practicing it now.
Go ahead.
Stop complaining.
A lot
about
of them do it. A lot of them do it.
Not as many as should probably.
Yeah.
If you look at the numbers. By the way, what is this Brock Purdy blasphemy you're spreading now?
About what?
I was in that room right there.
What?
Just like
that
everyone
didn't deserve $65 million?
Where did $65 million come from?
From Adam Schefter.
He said he wanted more than 60.
No, and then he said north of 60. Then Adam Schefter said, I believe the number was 65.
Huh. I did not hear that. So if that's
maybe it was later in the clip.
Yeah.
Play, Kyle. He said it.
I think there's a lot of ways to come to this number.
There we go.
And a lot of ways that they did come to this number. There were multiple meetings between the two sides. And I think Brock Purdy's initial asking price was north of $60 million.
North of 60.
And he was not going to get $60 million. He was not going to become the highest paid quarterback in football. It didn't fit into the 49ers salary structure. And I think also there was the idea that, at one point in time, like, maybe the 49ers would have listened for Brock Purdy trade offers. There were no trade offers that came in. There were no teams that really expressed interest. And Brock Purdy's perfect for them, and he's perfect for them. Like, they're perfect for him, he's perfect for them. It just works. It's the way it should be. His value is greatest on that team. Mm-hmm. And that's a little bit why they didn't view him right now as this $60+ million quarterback. His initial ask price, I believe, was about $65 million.
Okay, I did not hear that.
So it came down to
50. Point Styles.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Come on.
Yeah.
Now, what else? No, you have a whole list today. So what else is on your list today?
I do. I actually checked on that one and did not check well before I came in on that one.
No, to be fair to you,
yeah,
I had to listen to the whole thing because I'm thinking, where did he say 65?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But
all right. What is this
next?
about Malik Monk for the Kings is like having nice rims for a car that has no wheels?
That's right. Or it just doesn't
Mason
run.
Miller?
Yeah.
That's not right.
Why?
because a closer is definitely a luxury on a team that's not playing well because you doesn't have a chance to close. 6 man, every basketball team needs a 6 man and a 7th man and an 8th man.
Not if they don't have a 3rd and a 4th man.
Well, then he can be the 3rd or the 4th man. How is he a
We
luxury?
just tried to see that. We just tried to watch that.
So you're saying he's not good enough to be a
No.
starter?
No. I didn't say that. I said he is, and that's what I said. This Whitey, you're listening these last couple days. I don't know.
I don't see how he's a luxury.
I said he's a luxury as a 6 man. If he's going to go back into the starting lineup, that's fine. But the Kings weren't rattling off victories with him in the starting lineup. So he's not a luxury if he's a starter. If he's a 6 man.
But he's better as a 6 man, I think.
That's fine. But they need a better starting 5. If Malik Monk can net you what will be a better starting 5, right? A piece that helps your starting 5, then you do that. You have to think about that deal.
Maybe so, but it's nothing like a closer in baseball on a bad team.
Okay.
Not like that at all.
That's fine.
I'll give you the $65 million because I was wrong. But Malik Monk is
That's
Mason
a wash.
Miller.
It's
only
a
in that
wash.
they have their first and last name start with M.
It's a wash.
That's where the comparison ends.
It's a wash. Can you actually benefit me for a second?
I don't even know if that's the right use of the word.
What does that mean?
Can you actually benefit me?
I don't. What? I don't know what you mean.
Today is
just a synonym for pleasure. What are you doing here?
Today's my 3-year anniversary.
The deceased thing is interesting.
And I was trying to give you an opportunity. The deceased thing, it's interesting. Today's my 3-year anniversary. Do you have any words of wisdom? It's interesting.
Keep doing it. 3 years is
any words of wisdom.
Get out while you can.
Well, during the cross
That's tremendous.
I had said, there
Has
were
it really been 3 years?
Yeah, there were jokes about if marriages were like contracts. And hey, I signed a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
After you eclipse 3 years, do you want to sign an extension? Do you want to go into free agency? And I said this to my wife as a joke. And then that was last week. And then this week is our 3-year anniversary.
Yeah, I saw you were out at the lake, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But, hey, I want to re-sign with you. Isn't that romantic?
Wait, what? We were talking about you and your.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, hey.
Yeah.
It's 3 years.
Yeah.
I have an opportunity for free agency. I'm going to resign.
Atta boy.
I'm going to,
Glad to hear it.
That's what I'm saying. And the last thing I have for you, Whitey, I know it was a while ago, but I was running around this morning because it's almost time for pre-K. Okay. For toddler Styles. And
just say her name.
I'm just maybe when she's in pre-K.
Okay.
And I don't know, man. Did you do the pre-K thing?
Not officially. I mean, we did.
Well, it's
some things
daycare. They just call it pre-K now.
I don't.
They can charge more if they call it.
I don't know that we ever did officially pre-K. Yeah,
they can. It's
a little ritzy for us.
No, so they can charge more.
Let me just say something about your 3-year anniversary, and I mean this sincerely. If you were not in here doing the show every day, they would have to get someone else in here to do it, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
What does that have to do with? That sounds like an Allen. That's an Allenism.
That's not a thing. Allenisms are not a thing. We're not starting that.
What's coming up on the show, Whitey?
Today on our show, I know Vic Tafer is going to be with us. Vic Tafer.
Sure, that's how you pronounce it.
Yes, it is how I pronounce it.
It's how I pronounce it.
You say Vic
no,
Tafer?
It's how I've been pronouncing it.
He is now covering the 49ers for the Athletics. He's not covering the
no.
Yes, he's not covering the Raiders anymore.
Wow,
just made the switch.
Up, man.
Yes. Also, Jay has been dying to do this since yesterday. He's going to share with us his NFL Olympic flag football team. So we're going to find out who's.
You better have the 5'7" dude on it.
Who's that?
The dude who's the best.
He's talking about that flag football guy who's like, I'm better at Patrick Mahomes than at flag football because Patrick Mahomes is
Tush Doucette, the quarterback.
Is that his name?
I don't remember his name, but
yeah, he's got the braids.
Tush Doucette's the guy that said, just because I'm better than Patrick Mahomes because he hasn't played flag football.
Yes, that guy.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we're going with Mahomes.
Okay.
Well, Jay's not going with Mahomes, but
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that.
I am
USA
too.
with NFL players against Trinidad and Tobago. And
Yeah, I mean, it's just not.
That's going to be great.
No, it's not going to be. It's just.
And of course, we'll talk about the Tush Push
And SGA
MVP.
Thunder
SGA.
just gonna. Yeah, Thunder just gonna.
Did you say he's not relatable?
No, he's not relatable.
So you did say he's not relatable.
Yeah, I said that.
Yes. He said he can't be the face of the league, or he won't be
No,
the face
I said no. I never said he wouldn't be the
Ooh,
face
home
of
run,
the league.
Kansas City.
Uh-oh.
I never said he wouldn't be the face of the league. I said I think where he'll struggle is because I have two lanes for being a superstar or face of the league: mythical or relatable. Right? Mythical being a LeBron, a Jordan, guys like that, physical specimens that just are, once in a lifetime. And then you have relatable, your Steph Curry's, guys like that. And some of them can be both. To me, Giannis would be mythical as well. Shai, to me, and I'm saying this as I'm removing myself. I know how good Shai is, but as far as the non-hardcore NBA viewers, what's the story with Shai? What's pulling me in? Anthony Edwards is probably relatable to a fault, right? He just says whatever he wants. Shai, I don't know. So my point was just win. If you win, everybody loves you.
Do you think that whoever is going to eventually replace LeBron and Steph, do you think that person or those people are in the league right now?
I guess it could be Wemby.
Jokic and Giannis were supposed to replace LeBron and Steph, and their time's already come and gone, it seems
and part of that turns into maybe there's not going to be another LeBron and Steph, and that's also okay. Or maybe they did.
No, you're right. It's like when Michael left the first time.
Right.
And everyone was talking about who's going to replace him? Who's the next Michael? Well, of course, there wasn't one.
Yeah, there's just going to be some type of pivot. And we are about to pivot to the drive, guys.
Is that an Allenism?
Whitey Gleason. Your segue strikes again. Draper's still out.
Draper's on vacay.
Whitey Gleason.
White and Jay.
And Jay Johnson coming up next. Thanks to Chris Biderman. Thanks to all the callers, texters, sack chatters. Thanks to, I already said Chris Biderman, Kyle Ledbetter as well. Happy anniversary. We can go 50-50. We can go Dutch on this one, babe, because it's, 3 years. I'm kidding. Until tomorrow. Secure the back like the beam.
By the way, don't forget about my podcast.
Don't forget my podcast.
Gotta go.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes